starting a little flurry right now, Rick. I can't thank you enough for coming by and being a part of it. Everybody wants to it's a young sport when you compare it to all the other sports. 50 years is not that much. And how would you rate the development and the progress this sport has made in those 50 years?
Amazing. Oh, yeah. I never expected to see the kids. And I don't take any credit for that. They did it themselves. They wanted that. They had that passion so bad that they're going to figure out a way to get involved. And the high schools and the colleges have done that.
So I got to ask you one more question. What do you expect for tomorrow out on the water?
I think it's going to be progressively better because simply the conditions are settling and these fish are ready. They're ready to start becoming active, and that sun's going to just boil the water today. And I think you'll see some of your biggest catches probably the last day. So the lead's not going to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. The most volatile place maybe that we ever contest a Bassmaster Classic. Rick, again, thank you so much. They're lined up waiting for you out there in the Bass booth again. If you could possibly get over here to the BJCC and go to the expo, a chance to meet Rick and all of that. There's the leaderboard as it stands right now. Hank Cherry still hanging on to that lead, doing the job he has to do on this day if he wants to have a commanding starting position.
Thank you.
On the final day. Crews out in card and more. We are just getting started with our afternoon session of Bassmaster Live.
The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook is brought to you by Strike King, Power Pole, Academy Sports and Outdoors, the American Fishing Tackle Company, and by B&W Trailer Hitches.
They had that passion so bad that they're going to figure out a way to get involved.
What them sons of fish is up to now?
Fellas, I give you the force trolling motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. Really in trouble now.
Conditions are settling, and these fish are ready.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here. What a dumb bass.
Built for the guy who has everything and needs to tow it. The Tow and Stow is equipped with multiple ball sizes and adjusts in 1-inch increments to the height of your trailer for level towing. Best of all, it stows when you aren't using it, away from your shins and garage door. Machined from American steel with a 2-stage finish, the Tow and Stow is the last hitch you'll ever need.
Bassmaster Sweepstakes prizes are crazy good, and you'd be crazy not to enter. Enter now for your chance to win a fishing trip with 2019 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Scott Canterbury. Trip includes hotel, airfare, rental car, and $500 spending cash, plus a Skeeter Boat ZX190W with Yamaha SHO outboard, Lowrance Electronics, and an amazing prize package. Total value $52,000. There's a 100% chance you won't win if you don't enter. Go to Bassmaster.com and up the odds in your favor. It's fast and easy, and who knows, you could win.
Serious competitors demand serious tech. We've hand-selected top anglers from fisheries around the U.S. We've taken them to Lake El Salto, Mexico, and armed them with a full one-boat network setup from Minn Kota and Humminbird. Their mission? Do battle in a series of challenges designed to prove their fishing skill, all to create a new legend and put the ultimate fishing system to the ultimate test.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new tour grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use with the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Power Pole.
Bassmaster Live once again, thanks to the great Rick Clunn, holds the record for Classics One. This is great tradition in the world of sports, and this is the 50th year for it. 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic. That's the leaderboard as it stands right now. These weights unofficial, but Hank Cherry, you got to say, doing his job. He's doing exactly what he needed to do today. It may not be enough, but it could have been worse.
It's not been the prettiest of days on Lake Guntersville, but here's the thing. I'm stating the obvious. He truly did not need it. Tommy Sanders, what do you say? We take us a hummingbird lay of the lake, my friend. We are actually showing you all the fish catches thus far on Lake Guntersville, day number 2, that are over 3 pounds. And what's interesting is when we did this yesterday, it is almost identical to what we got to see, whether it's out on the main lake, near the main river, in pockets, in creeks. And the other thing is, you know you have a pretty diverse fishery when it is spread from one end all the way up to the northern end of Lake Guntersville.
Absolutely. The only little difference I see is you see a few of those on the east side that the wind was blowing out on yesterday, and you're exactly right. That could be dangerous before tomorrow afternoon is over.
Yes, from waterfront down to Seabold, that's an area we've been watching on the east side of that river channel. If that area ignites, big stringers can be weighed in. Tommy Sanders, can you splash some big fish to me from Lake?
Well, let's talk about the top 5 heaviest. How about the top 5 heaviest bass caught in a classic? Of course, Preston Clark is 11-10, 2006 on the Kissimmee chain, stands at the top. I don't know if that one will ever be broken. Our man who was just up here, our hero Rick Clunn, knocked out a 10-10 on the Kissimmee chain as well. Brent Ayler on Conroe.
Am I out of line right now? When Rick Clunn was up here, does he not look frighteningly like Paul Newman from The Color of Money?
He does look like Paul Newman. The glasses help.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, he's got the same charisma. He's always had it.
There's a lot of badassery going on with Rick Clunn, especially when you see him around a classic.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if you heard it. He said back then, 76, this place was every bit as good as it is now. It's just the knowledge, the community knowledge, the technology, and just the hours spent on the water have expanded it. They're just things they fish today that they never thought about fishing back in the day.
One thing he said that amazed me is nobody fished riprap in 76.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing megabucks. I think megabucks tournaments that you were probably in. I remember seeing Larry Nixon on this riprap. Remember?
Yes.
Throwing an old 6A or a 7A.
Yep, it was a little before my time, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I was reading every page of Bassmaster magazine those days, no doubt.
Normally, I'm the one trying to age you more, Davey, but Zona's over here saying, tournaments that you weren't even in yet. You were in.
Stand down, my friend. Stay in your lane, Ron Moore.
I did have a good megabucks a few years after that. That really gave me my start.
Yeah.
Our man who was just up here, our hero Rick Clunn, knocked out a 10-10 on the
There's Hank's day. Started out absolutely on the right track. Been a while since that last keeper.
When Rick Clunn was up here, does he not look frighteningly like Paul Newman from The Color of Money?
Speaking of Larry Nixon, it's so cool. You talked about this earlier, Tommy. There's so many of our sports legends. The majority, Rick mentioned it too just now, that they're still around. A lot of them are here today.
That's the great thing about having a sport that's only 50 years old. Yes, the guys from the 70s, the greatest winners. From just about every decade, you'll find them here at the Expo this week, which makes this 50-year celebration even more special.
Here's earlier today with Hank Cherry. Not as many bites as yesterday, but definitely the right size for him. And I'm not so sure he didn't. We saw the first two, and I think he was a little short. And surely the next three for him aren't all 2-pounders. You think, Z?
No. And I'll tell you another one that grossly underguesses what's in his live well is Keith Combs. I know, obviously he's not scaring the lead yet, but Hank Cherry and Keith Combs, they don't really like to tell you exactly what they have in the live well.
Stand down, my friend. Stay in your
In their defense, I think most guys, some are different, but most guys just don't want a big eye and get, oh, man, you said you had 20 pounds and you weighed in 18?
Yeah.
They'd rather it be the other way. Just
I guess technically you have a legal right to mislead people.
Sure,
as far as that goes. That's part of we're talking about tradition here. Now, come on.
Yeah, they'd rather just say 14 and have 23, those kind of.
Yeah, that's a little much, but we have seen that.
Shucks, I had no idea.
Did he put it in as a 2? Oh, I told him at least it was, 4.5.
That darn Marshall.
Todd Otten was almost close to his big bass yesterday. 790 put in as a 7.6. He's honest as the day is long.
Honest Todd.
I had a couple moves. Brandon Carr jumped in our fourth position here with a 4.5, 4.25 pounder, and Jason Williams inside our top 10.
Yesterday, but definitely the right size for him. And
Brandon started just outside our top 10. He had a good day yesterday.
I think he was a little short. And we talked to Jason Williamson last night. He caught a lot of fish. Also, one of those 15, maybe 20 guys.
Yeah, and not only that, he was just like David Mullins. He was able to get that area of the lake, that sea bowl to waterfront. He was one of the few anglers that got that area to work where so many did not.
I don't really like to tell you exactly what they have in the live well.
In their defense, I think most guys, some are different, but most guys just don't want a big eye and get, oh, man, you said you had 20 pounds and you weighed in 18?
Yeah.
They'd rather it be the other way.
I guess technically you have a legal right to mislead people.
Sure,
That's part of we're talking about tradition here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, they'd rather just say 14 and have 23, those kind of.
Yeah, that's a little much, but we have seen that.
Shucks, I had no idea.
Did he put it in as a 2? Oh, I told him at least it was, 4.5.
That darn Marshall.
Todd Otten was almost close to his big bass yesterday. 790 put in as a 7.6. He's honest as the day is long.
Honest Todd.
I had a couple moves. Brandon Carr jumped in our fourth position here with a.
This is about yesterday.
Pounder, and Jason Williams inside our top 10.
Really, if you went off of the fish catches from yesterday, this is about when it started to fire. But there was a lull yesterday from, call it 10 o'clock until ballpark 1. And then basically from 1 till the weigh-in is when we saw a lot of our bigger fish.
Just before it's been an hour since our last keeper at this point right here. So.
Wow.
So we saw Chris Aldane yesterday when he was struggling mightily with trying to use the big swim bait. It just came across my mind. Hank Cherry, he loves to throw a jerk bait, loves to throw a jig, vibrating jig. I don't ever remember him just throwing a worm like something we saw Chris Aldane do. A lot of guys will pick up that spinning rod and throw a shaky head, or Nico or something like that.
I don't know that we've ever seen that.
I don't think I ever have.
I don't know that I've ever seen him hold a spinning rod, period.
We'll have to ask him that. I don't either.
I think so.
This is about yesterday. How about some BC bonus coverage? Jason Williamson right here. If you went off of the fish catches from yesterday, this is about. Boy, he said the cast angles were so critical on a lot of these high spots to us. Call it 10 o'clock until ballpark. Sid, if you did not make the exact cast and touch that hydrilla, you would never get a bite on these high spots.
It's been an hour since our last keeper at this point right here. So
Maybe starting back up. Josh Busby, our team champion, just landed a 4.5 pounder. He only had one fish yesterday. Called himself a hot mess out there. He's up to about 13 pounds today and trying to climb. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it, but he's 36 right now.
Yep, today's cut to 25.
It was incredible. We mentioned it at St. John's maybe, but of the team champions that have made the Classic, there's been, I believe, 6. 3 of them have came from similar bass clubs around the Table Rock region. 3 of the 6 have made it, and then among those 3 that didn't, there was competitors in the bracket portion of it that were from the region. So it's almost every year represented. There's been an Ozark angler from the team championship that has made it to the Classic.
Why do you think that is, Ronnie?
I'm not sure. I know that the team championship, is always fished in that late November, December time period. And so, they're used to fishing in trashy weather and just no matter what.
Super tough.
They keep fishing. And plus, all 3 species, they're accustomed to targeting, diverse different deals. But, yeah, Busby's one of those guys.
The lakes are on there. Busby has some good history at Guntersville here in, I think, the 15 team championship. He was way down there and finished 6th place with a 28-pound bag on second day.
Exact cast and touch that hydrilla, you would never get a bite on these high spots.
Maybe starting back up. Josh Busby, our team champion, just landed a 4.5 pounder. He only had one fish yesterday. Called himself a hot mess out there. He's up to about 13 pounds.
Jason Williams said he did not find him until the last day of practice.
I don't know if he's going to be able to make it.
He was scratching his head up until that point. Felt pretty good, actually, running into day number 1.
To 25.
It was incredible. We mentioned it at St. John's maybe, but of the team champions that have made the Classic, there's been, I believe,
We're looking at that top 10 on the cuts for 25 tomorrow. But looking at the top 10, Keith Combs.
I know, it's so bizarre.
I mean, you think there's no, after yesterday, you think there's no way he has a chance. I would not want to be leading and have Keith Combs that close.
In any,
you would have to keep your
tournament.
eyes on him.
Yes.
I would want to be leading. I mean, I'm not saying that, but I would just soon. I like him. We go hunting together. We do lots of fun
Do we
stuff.
ever.
But it'd be just fine with me if you work Expo tomorrow. That's what I would be thinking, because he is a guy that has cracked 30-pound stringers many a time.
Yes.
It says he's Bass Track has him at 12 pounds 11 ounces back at Cherry right now, but it's probably closer to 10. He's probably got closer to 25 pounds.
Jason Williamson right there. And hey, one thing to note that Williamson told us after the weigh-in yesterday, he called, remember he said this? He called every fish out from 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock.
That's right. Reinforces what may be about to happen. All over the lake, probably.
Oh, I think he hit one little patch of hydrilla, called them out within an hour, making basically one cast. I think I remember him saying.
Felt pretty good actually running into day number 1.
It's just how quick things can change.
Said he hasn't caught but 1 fish over 5 pounds since he hit town here.
We're looking at that top 10 on the cuts for 25 tomorrow. Looking at the top 10, Keith Combs.
I know, that's so bizarre.
I mean, you think
we had that list a few moments ago about the top, single fish caught in classics. Let's take a look at the top keepers here, and Keith Combs.
Wow.
It's the Keith Combs list, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Combs in 2nd through 4th place right there.
And one of his 5 fish is a 4-pounder, so it could be a 5-pounder and make that list. You just don't know.
Wow. He's caught 3 of the biggest 4 fish caught today. Does he still have the 2-pounder? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, 2-2. Jinx.
Stetson Blaylock with a 3-12 jumps into 4th place with about 14.5 today.
Right there. And hey, one thing to note that Williamson told us after the weigh-in yesterday, he called, remember he said this? He called every fish out from last we checked. We've got Robbie Floyd. Robbie Floyd's going to try to track down Keith Combs here in the next half hour for us. Good.
I think he hit one little patch of hydrilla, called him out. I bet he's cranking. Within an hour, making basically maybe lipless, maybe not.
They would say he's cranking it.
What color, Davey?
Demon.
One fish over 5 pounds since he hit town here.
top single fish caught in classics. Let's take a look at the top.
So, Stetson Blaylock, I expected him to make a move after what we saw him do yesterday and had that slow start this morning. Now I'm expecting to see Brandon Lester do the same thing. It'll shock me if he doesn't make a move this afternoon.
Lester, nothing over 2 pounds after 20 plus yesterday.
Got off of it.
Does he still have the 2-pounder?
Try to stay on top of it and just kind of drift down it. Just cast down it. See? We can't run into him somewhere.
Lester obviously doesn't have them great, but it's hard to have a 1 and a 1-4 and a 1-4 with 15 inchers at Gunnersville pre-spawn.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes.
he's probably
Yes.
closer to 9.5, 10 than 7.
We saw at least 4 of his 5 fish, and I didn't see a 1-pounder. I don't remember a 1-pounder.
Not good.
Oh.
Not good.
What color, Davey?
Demon. Did it break?
The very first tournament I covered for the Bassmasters with Tommy.
That was her. Couldn't get her out. She got me over something, broke my line.
I expected him to make a move after what we saw him do yesterday and had that slow start this morning. Now I'm expecting to see Brandon Lester do the same thing. It'll shock me if he doesn't make a move this afternoon.
Nothing over 2 pounds.
We watched the tournament 1 on that boat dock. Zell roll.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Gosh.
I was actually fishing that final day of that event. The sun came out, it got calm, and most of the top 10 struggled. I came to weigh in and was blown away.
What other thing do people remember that tournament from?
Marizo Shimizu.
Marizo Shimizu, the Big Mama stuff, yeah.
We saw at least 4 of his 5 fish. And
Was that 2005, Z?
I don't remember one.
Yeah.
Would have been.
Yeah. That was when you mentioned Marizo. That's when he caught like 30 pounds and got second. Though he didn't win. He got
Zell.
second. Yeah.
Zell crushed him off that dock right there.
Did it break?
Bill Lowen continuing his comeback. He's up to 13 pounds. 16th place. He said his area was just blown out yesterday.
That is a lost opportunity right there for Brandon Lester.
God, look,
that was not a 2-pounder.
No.
Got me over something, broke my line.
Hmm. 1.5 would take him right back into the top 5. All those little fish in his live well right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Could you believe it that we are halfway through? We are 1.5 days into this classic, and that Brandon Cobb and Paul Mueller would both have 2 fish total for the event so far. Blows my mind.
What other thing do people remember from Marizo Shimizu, Big Mama stuff, yeah.
Was that 2005, Z?
You really can't ever make up for a fish like he just broke off, but mentally you can. If he would catch a good one now, it would sure help things. Because he's thinking about it right now.
I mean, he never moved that fish when he hit it.
Bill Lowen continuing his comeback. He's up to 13 pounds. 16th place. He said his area was just blown out yesterday.
It is a lost opportunity right there for Brandon Lester. Look, that was not a 2-pounder.
Docks, pretty big part of our Classic victory last year.
Could you believe it that we are halfway through? We are 1.5 days into this.
You, David, said
Brandon Cobb told me they would both have 2 fish.
They got to be a certain depth. They can't be too shallow. They cannot be too shallow here.
Well, there's certain times they actually like those shallower ones, or the shallower parts of the walkway. But yeah, the anglers that we have talked to that caught them yesterday off those boat docks, 3 to 5, wasn't it, Zeke?
3 to 5.
Yeah.
And really, the keys were. There was 2 real keys to the configuration. Was number 1, the longest ones, the furthest ones out, and that it was a small dock, not the, there's a lot.
Oh,
Get out of there.
Another good one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on in the boat.
Boat flipper. Come here. Come here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whew. Golly, that feels good. Woo. Now you know about what that other looked like.
Good cove. A 1-pounder for that.
That's big, man.
Mentally, too. I'm telling you, mentally,
moment.
that is big.
You're fine. Come on. Grab my little coal. You got it? All right. You can put it back now.
In about 15, 20 seconds, he is literally back in the game.
Yeah.
Mentally and with his weight. That 1-pound coal for this, what's that?
4 something.
Shallower parts of the walkway, but yeah, the anglers that we have talked
For
to
sure.
caught them yesterday off those boat docks. 3 to 5, wasn't it?
3 to 5. And really, the keys were. There was 2 real keys to the configuration.
Makes you forget about the one that got away, but then all of a sudden you think, man, if he'd have landed both of those.
Yeah, be in second place.
And that it was a small dock, not, there was a lot.
Get out of there.
Lots of time left, though.
4.5. I think that's about right. What'd you say? 4.5.
Yes, sir.
Good call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Golly, that feels good. Woo. Now you know about what that other looked like.
Good cove. A 1-pounder for that.
You also see a dock that Hank Cherry spent the better side of about 30 minutes on yesterday.
Here we go. Big. All of a sudden, the boat docks have become magical. In about 15, 20 seconds, he is literally back in the game. Mentally and with his weight. That 1-pound.
That's good.
Solid keys.
4 something.
Makes you forget about the one that got away, but then all of a sudden you think, man, if he'd have landed both of those.
Yeah, be in second place. Lots of time left.
4.5. I think that's about right. 4.5.
Lester should jump about 7 places with that last fish. And Cherry has 2 2-pounders listed on his bass track.
It's definitely bigger than that one.
You also see a dock that Hank Cherry spent the better side of about 30 minutes on yesterday.
This one.
Here we go. All of a sudden, the boat docks have become magical.
That's good.
Solid.
Robbie Floyd just got to Goose Pond area. Is going to try to track down Keith Combs here in the next 30.
That buffalo. Hopefully not.
He's there.
Oh, he's there.
And he's hooked up.
Wow.
With something big. If this is a bass.
One fight.
Oh.
You made it all? It was big, but yeah, but you couldn't feel it rolling on, could you?
Jerry has two 2-pounders listed on his bass trip.
That is a real good sign. Shut up. I enjoyed that. Huh? This is just a dock rocket. 3/8 ounce. Power bait max cent chunk. You get one to bite a jig. Or that chunk. He is not letting go. And I take a pack of the worms and I tear me a piece off. It's kind of like putting extra cheese on your pizza, more scent. What I do is this jig has a keeper on it, and I'm throwing a chunk right now, so I'm just gonna thread it on, it goes up and cover the keeper, so that way when I hang my chunk, it won't slide up the shank when I skip. And we'll take my old dippy-doo. Putting her in there. I'll attempt him to. Just want to get a little bit on the tail, some more scent, but make it look like a bluegill or something that's pulled up there. And ready to be munched on. Oh, that chunk. He is not ready yet. And I take a pack of the worms. And I tear me a piece off. It's kind of like putting extra cheese on your pizza with more scent. What I do is this jig has a keeper on it, and I'm throwing a chunk right now, so I'm just gonna thread it on, it goes up and cover the keeper, so that way when I hang my chunk, it won't slide up the shank on the skip.
Yeah, it's the Z-Man.
The Nicorette's down there.
I mean, super shallow jig bite. Get a little bit on the tail, more scent. Make it look like a bluegill or something that's pulled up there. And ready to be munched on. 2.75, I guess, something like that. They called a 2.55. Is what it called.
The Nicorette?
I mean, super shallow jig butt.
Well, as a prelude to introducing our special guest who has just popped by to help us out a little bit on our broadcast, let's, I think you're going to recognize this fella with the most impressive resume, both tournament fishing and TV show-wise.
And YouTube-wise.
And YouTube-wise, and just about everything awesome-wise.
How about Scott? If you're going to come to a Bassmaster Classic, I mean, you're going to see Scott Martin more than likely, probably in the next year, you'll see Scott Martin in a Bassmaster Classic. Scott, kind of dial us in, if you can, the career changes that have happened the last few months.
Well, I tell you, it's a complete change. It's a 180, but I tell you, I'm so excited about it because, 50 years of history here. We're sitting here at Guntersville in Birmingham, 50 years of history, and my dad was part of that from the very beginning. And, when I started my career, I went in a little different path, and all good. But I went a different way, and Dad finished his career with bass. And I've had that burning desire for all these years to get over here and what I call finish some unfinished family business. And for me, this is, as a kid, I remember...
Explain that. Explain that.
So my dad, and of course, fished for all these years, and he's got the, record for most tournament wins for a long time, most Angler of the Year titles,
most awesomeness,
most awesomeness,
right?
And look, and the most getting up early and working out, running up down hotel room stairs. I hear that all the time. That's kind of weird, but he does exercise every single morning.
Oh, I've seen it in action many a time.
He's going to be 80 years old here in a few days, and he's doing great. He's doing great.
Good to hear that.
Look, of all that, the one title that eluded him was the Bassmasters Classic. He came in second. He had a lot of close finishes, but that was the one title that eluded him. And now that he's kind of retired, obviously, from this sport, it's my turn. It's my turn to finish some unfinished family business. And I want to win a tournament. I want to win a Bassmasters Classic for my father more than anything. And that's really my desire. And I want an elite trophy. I want a Bass Open trophy on my shelf. I want the whole kit and caboodle. So
all of it.
I do. So I'm switching gears. I've got a lot of years ahead of me. I've had a great previous, career on FLW Tour. It's been great, but now it's time to get over and finish some business.
Did your dad ever start a classic that he wasn't absolutely sure he could win?
He's always been confident. He's always been focused, and it's to win a classic, it takes something special. It does. I mean, and he's been in that position before, but he's just
every time I saw him at I'm going to win this classic. Yeah. I'm going to win this one.
You've won so much on the FLW Tour. Was making this move to fish the Bass Opens and just focus on getting to the Bassmaster stressful, even after everything you've accomplished?
It is, because, starting over, I have to start over my stats. I have to start over my rankings. I have to, you have to deal with sponsors and tell them, what you're going to be doing. And it is stressful. I have to talk to my family. But for me, it's purely passion. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. It's literally about the Bassmasters Classic trophy.
The money's good.
The money's good.
Help us with this call here. It's got out on the water. Keith Combs, I don't know if you've been watching. He's made a big move today. Huge move. And
a Bassmasters Classic for my father, more than
And I believe that's going to be his smallest bass that he has in his live well right now. We've done Zona Live, Zona shows with Keith Combs. I understand we're doing a Zone Alive this year.
We are, and I'm super excited
That's
about it.
what you call collabing.
That we're going to collab. We're going to have some
know
fun.
what that
This will be a
means.
mega
I never
collab.
heard that before.
No, my kids told me that.
That's interesting.
You know what it means.
Z, if that's replaces his 2.2 for Combs there, if that's a 2-pound upgrade, he's going to jump all the way up into the top 4, roughly, at least the top 5, after only having 7 pounds yesterday.
You know what I don't understand is why isn't every single person throwing a red crankbait? Because every time you see someone doing good on this lake, it's a red crankbait. Yeah.
Talk about your history with Gunnersville, Scott.
You know, I've had some fantastic days here on this lake too. It's a grass fishery. You know, I was here when the Alabama rig got introduced, and I made the top 10 in that event, and I was the only guy not throwing an Alabama rig,
which is an accomplishment in that tournament.
I tried to find one, I couldn't get one. We were taking coat hangers trying to build them. It was a mess.
You know, you have to deal with sponsors and tell them, you know, what you're going to be doing.
Let's go from Keith Combs now on his amazing run here on day 2 of the Classic over to John Cruz, who's had quite the run himself this morning.
I mean,
moments ago.
Get your butt in here.
Oh boy, I love that sight. See nothing but a mouth coming at you.
Bingo. Need right there.
Things are starting to fire right now on Lake Gunnersville. There was definitely a lull around 11 o'clock, maybe for 45 minutes to an hour. And take a look at our maps right here and get back down to Brandon Lester, and we've started to see the shallow game really start to play the last 45 minutes.
That water's warming up. You know, those shallow flats, those fish are starting to move. Full moons in a few days. I mean, things are getting ready.
Well, watch this. This was moments ago. No, excuse me. This is live.
Z, if that's replaces his 2.2 for Combs there, if that's
There's more history on that boat dock than any boat dock on this lake.
Roughly at least the top 5 after only having 7 pounds yesterday.
That's the great thing about Gunnersville. You can catch them so many different ways. Obviously, at shallow, around the docks, in the eelgrass, around. Oh, there he goes. Uh-oh. You know, I've had some fantastic days here.
Gosh. Stay on, baby. Please stay on. That's a freaking toad out there, son. Boom.
Wow.
Look at that thing.
Let's go from Keith Combs now on his amazing run.
I'm going to tell you something right now. If I didn't sit down there and grab that other rod with that 20-pound vicious fluorocarbon on it, I would have never caught that fish. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Son, that's a big one.
I love that sight.
6-pounder all day.
Things are starting to fire right now on Lake Gunnersville. It's the best fish catch of the day. No doubt.
6-pounder all day.
No doubt. Swung it.
Especially in context, that's the best, because he just lost one that size.
Yeah.
Then caught one immediately after to erase it, and now he does this.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is a hot mess right there. Is what it is.
4.5-pound cull. He'll throw back about 1.5 pounds to 1.75 pounds for a 6-pounder, he says.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than 6.
Yeah.
Thick.
Well, watch this. This was moments ago.
Here's what's staggering. Looking at that right there is how this entire system, and the only way you really get this gauge, we talked about it when we first started doing Bassmaster Live years ago, blah, 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 is how the entire body of water would be shut down for an hour where nobody's even catching a 15-inch keeper, and then all of a sudden the entire system ignites.
That is awesome to watch live and see that happen time and time again. But this time of the year, you have those windows. When that water's cold, that temperature starts to warm up, that sun gets up, game on.
Looking at this right here and seeing that the dot game opened up, and that's something that was talked about before this tournament. Tommy Sanders and myself have actually called an event that was won on this boat dock more than a decade, almost 2 decades ago.
Maybe something like that.
It is so embarrassingly bad.
It is.
Dial us in on what can transpire going into tomorrow where it's going to get even warmer.
So what's going to happen, a lot of these fish, these big fish like that Lester's on, they're going to start to get higher in that water column. They're going to let that sun get up on their bellies a little bit. That full moon's coming. They're going to want to start warming their bodies up, and when they do, they want to eat. And that jig is a great presentation. When you get it there in that sweet spot, those fish are going to react. So these guys are liable to really start catching some of these bigger fish on these docks.
Can you catch them going both ways under a dock? I mean, can you catch them resting and feeding back up again and catch them on the way in?
You can, but they seem to be so much more lethargic. And when they're just really lethargic, they just don't really react that well. And that's why you see those lulls.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, this exact dock that he's fishing, the beauty of that dock, it is a stop sign to where they're headed. They are headed into a pocket very close to there, very popular pocket, and basically they just stop on that. If you looked at that fish right there, that was a classic pre-spawn bass.
They're disposed to eat
pale
when they're under there,
bloated.
Yeah,
it's built
just
in
came
the
out.
perfect spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those two catches we saw, one from Cruz, one from Lester, has them in second and third respectively, 5.5 and 7 pounds back of Hank Cherry.
Well, the gap is starting to close.
But this time of the year, you have those windows when that water's cold, that temperature.
You have been in this position before, FLW Championship.
Looking at this right here and seeing that the dock game opened up.
It needs to go right for Hank Cherry tomorrow morning.
Hank just needs to stay focused and just keep the wheels on the track, because he's going to have opportunities throughout the day, and what he needs to think about is not, am I going to get a bite in the next 5 minutes? It's that I'm going to get 2 or 3 of those bites the rest of the day, throughout the day. And if he can continue to do that and do that tomorrow, you know, he'll do fine. But he may have to make some adjustments. This time of the year, you have to make adjustments. These fish are transitioning all day long, depending on the sun and the water temperature.
Who's your pick?
Boy, it's so hard to say, because a mega bag could show up at any minute. But I tell you, with the full moon coming on and the sun being out, warming up, people fishing boat docks, it's going to be hard to beat.
What Open do you win this year?
Texas, the very next one. Yeah.
And then the one after.
I hope so. I just want to win one so I can go to the Bassmasters Classic and put me a trophy up on my shelf. It says Bassmaster Open Champion.
Unfinished business.
Awesome, man.
Got to get it done.
Awesome.
Got to get it done.
Awesome.
The beauty of that dock. It is a stop sign to where they're.
Oh, you feel like lightning's going to strike again here. And I'm going to tell you something. We talked about this earlier. I just shot a Zona show with him, jig fishing of all things. You will not meet a more patient jig fisherman on planet Earth than that dude right there.
Well, that's what it takes. This time of the year, you need patience.
Catches we saw, one from Cruz, one from Lester, has them in second and third respectively.
Well, Scott Martin, thank you so much, man. We appreciate
Awesome,
your
guys.
expertise. We wish you the best of luck in your quest.
That was very cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the unfinished business. We want to see it taken care of, for sure.
Road to the Classic.
All right.
Awesome,
Road
man.
to the Classic. One more look at this one. You said this seemed to have been chaotic to use on it.
Yeah, that is an HM. That is a total hot mess right there. Because I'm going to tell you something. If that fish would have come off, Brandon Lester, as calm as he is, he would have had a meltdown.
I would have had to avert my eyes if that had happened.
Dude, it is going to be game on the rest of the day.
Hey, Cherry, riding high, cruising with the lead right now.
I need to let them know what I'm doing.
Nothing is safe on this place because of where it is. It is legendary Lake Guntersville. It is the 50th Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook. Man, oh man. Things absolutely heating up out there with Hank Cherry hanging on there. John Cruz back where he started the day in second place. And Brandon Lester, the big jump, about 5 positions since we joined you about 40 minutes ago. Been a roller coaster for him, and it has been fun to watch. Plenty more on the way, more special guests, and we will be right back.
Bassmaster Live.
The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook, is being brought to you live by Power Pole.
We
talked about the
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
Gear up this spring at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining BASS today. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, BASS cap, plus more. Click now on this video to join today.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
Serious competitors demand serious tech. We've hand-selected top anglers from fisheries around the U.S. We've taken them to Lake El Salto, Mexico, and armed them with a full one-boat network setup from Minn Kota and Humminbird. Their mission? Do battle in a series of challenges designed to prove their fishing skill, all to create a new legend and put the ultimate fishing system to the ultimate test.
What an awesome place to have the Bonus Bucks event right here on Pickwick Lake. This is definitely bass fishing country, and it's great to see this Toyota Owners Tournament come to this venue.
The Toyota Owners event's really cool. It's a standalone deal. Just be part of the Bonus Bucks program. You get invited to the event for free. So if you haven't registered for the Bonus Bucks, it's a free program, and not only can you win all the bonus money in the tournaments, you can also attend the Owners event for free.
You're crazy if you don't sign up. That's the whole reason I bought my Toyota. No other truck manufacturer does more for fishermen than Toyota.
As a professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
Shrimp po' boy, fried chicken. Man, Academy has the best selection in bait. Oh, gotta get a badonkadonk. What else do we have here? Oh, the twitch and mullet. Definitely. Gone fishing.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Power Pole.
50th anniversary of the Bassmaster Classic. Our midday lull may be subsiding in a big way if the last 40 minutes are any indication. The top three positions have not changed, but below that, Davey Height, it is churning and gurgling and bubbling up now. It's like a volcano about to explode.
It's like Davey got off the set and all of a sudden the lake exploded.
Hey, I'll get off again.
Yeah.
But I will say this now. I like Brandon Lester, and I thought before this tournament began, he's going to be a player on Sunday. And boy, he was falling away. But man, I couldn't hear the audio. But what a catch! That was so awesome to watch.
Unreal. Two big ones off this dock after losing a giant.
He might not be done with that dock yet.
Oh, you know he's catching another one off of it.
Didn't Zale catch 30 pounds off the one dock?
Yes. Yeah. And in the front of, off the face of it in the morning, and then doing this in the.
Here we go.
Oh my word.
Oh.
Did you see him set that hook? He was totally expecting another slaunch.
don't know if he's going to help us or not.
For every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water.
Nah, he's fat. I better check.
Shrimp po' boy, fried chicken. Man, Academy has the best selection of bait. Oh, gotta get a
I
badonkadonk.
put them right back in there anyway.
What else do we have here? The twitching mullet. Definitely. Gone fishing.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Powerball.
Oh, Keith Combs has got back in the story too, hasn't he? In a big way.
What do we have? I see Ronnie's gone, but Such, what do we have Keith Combs at what is his smallest fish?
3.5.
Wow.
He's got the 6, 5.8, 5, 4 even, and a 3.8.
And I'm going to tell you something that's really cool, the dynamic that we have going into, as of now, going into the final day. Our top 4 or 5 players are all doing something totally different in total different regions of Lake Guntersville. That is the best thing about coming to this lake.
We love that every time.
Unreal. Two big ones off this dock after.
Like things are starting to fire up. John Cox, a 4-pounder.
He might not be done with that dock yet.
Maybe.
Oh, you know he's catching.
That one was fat. The one I let go was kind of skinny.
Didn't Sale catch 30 pounds off the one dock?
Yes. And in the front, off the face of it in the morning, and then doing this.
Here we go. Did you see him set that hook? He was totally expecting another slaunch.
Yeah.
Oh. No, he's fat. I'm going to check.
Gosh, you just feel like the last 45 minutes until these guys need to check in is going to be the biggest turning point in this event. You can feel that happening right now.
Yes.
What do we have? I see Ronnie's gone, but Such, what do we have Keith Combs at? What is his smallest fish?
3.5.
Wow.
You got the 6, 5.8, 5.
So many guys fishing their first classic this time around.
Really cool.
But if you look at our top 10, there's only 2 that are fishing in their first classic experience.
Our top 4 or 5
You got to think is
all doing something totally
beneficial
in total different regions of Lake Guntersville.
Just got a text from Ike, who was there with Brandon Lester. He said he's still got one pretty small in his live well that if he can get rid of.
Like things are starting to fire up. John Cox, a 4-pounder.
Right, Such?
Yeah, 1.5 and a 2-pounder. It sure
I think
would
he
love
just
to call.
called. I think he just called one of those. No?
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
He might do it now.
Stay on, baby.
Oh, he was fortunate last time.
Stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Stay on.
Not a bad one either.
Bring him.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Definitely bigger than 1.5.
Uh-huh. That is the best ever.
In the Bassmaster Classic.
Golly. Them females done come in here, hanging out under these docks.
Gosh, you just feel like
should put him in second place.
Minutes until these guys
Pudgy.
check in. It's going to be the biggest turning.
What's that fish, Z?
3 3/4.
Okay.
What would you call it? 4?
I was about to call you a sandbagger like those fishermen, but yeah, I was going to say maybe 4, but yeah, when you said 3/4, I go with that. Yeah.
I'll say that's a pretty good trade.
This time around.
What y'all think?
Boy, you're playing with fire.
Yes.
He's been fortunate on 2 of the 3.
Oh, but he lost that first one.
Yeah, I said 2 of the 3.
Right.
Beneficial.
Gosh, it's so awesome. My children are watching this.
Well,
But pretty much all they want to do is skip docks. I mean, they are in heaven watching this footage right now. Oh, that is good stuff. Just across the way, we're going to just sweep around the corner in the mouth of Seabold. This was just David Mullins just moments ago.
Drone action there, that is awesome. Live drone.
It really is.
We talked about it earlier when all of a sudden 1 or 2 guys caught them and it was lighting up. That's the same thing. Lester and Mullins with these 2 fish, and there's 4 other guys that have all popped in with important fish as well.
3 and Frazier, Shryock getting in on it. Back to Mullins, live.
There's a Canadian Cup going on. Jeff Gustafson's trying to hold up Chris and Corey Johnston. Gussie's trying to get inside the cut and fish Sunday, be the highest Canadian finisher ever.
Been fortunate on 2 of the 3.
Oh, but he lost that first one.
Yeah, I said 2 of the 3.
Right.
Here's what we're talking about with Hunter Shryock right here, moments ago.
Catch up to her. Catch up to her.
Dark.
Davey, seriously, I'm going to ask you something. While we were talking, when Scott Martin was up here, it is staggering to watch this footage and see a lull for everybody.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm talking about all 53 competitors not catching anything for an hour, and then it's chaos. Explain that.
We were talking about it when Rick Clunn was up here with Tommy and I, and it's just, you know,
it's a head scratcher.
I think Rick made, he scratched his head a little bit, but then made good mention to, I would totally agree, it's when what they're feeding on becomes active for a lot of different reasons. You know, temperatures, current.
It's like deer.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't explain it, but when it's happening, you need to be in the right area.
I mean, you hear everything from magnetic field. When you talk about deer, you talk about magnetic fields and sunspots and everything else. It shows how little we really know about bass. For all our bass fishing all the time on the water.
So this brought up something, you know, Clunn mentioned, catching fish in those times where they're not active, that's when you can gain ground.
Right.
Because when it's firing, you know, they're all making moves, and you're kind of punch and counter punch, and they're all doing that. But in those low times, just like when you fish a tidal river, everybody catches them at low tide, you know, real close to low.
Did you say roll tide?
Well,
I didn't understand what you said. I guess I misunderstood you,
but
Mr.
when you
Hyde.
can catch them in those slack times, it's normally more difficult. That's when you're going to have more weight at the end of the day.
I've been monitoring every fish catch, and there was a time, only 20 minutes, when there was no fish catches. There were several fewer and far between, but 20 minutes was dead period after Combs'
What time was that at?
Right after Combs' flurry, right before we got back from break.
It is staggering to watch this footage.
I've been waiting for our Combs connection to hook up. We had a little tease of it a little bit ago, but I think now we got it stabilized, and there is Keith Combs. 5 fish in the live well. What a run today. And Robbie Floyd, you are with him. Tell us kind of the lay of the land there. What's happening?
We were talking about it when Rick Clunn was up here.
Well, we're in that area. You might have seen Aunt Defoe catch quite a few bass last time we were here at the Bassmaster Classic, where that bridge is no longer a bridge. And there's been quite a few recreational boats around here. I think Jamie Hartman's right around the corner, but a very busy area, kind of a spawning area. But he's grabbed the crankbait, and he's hitting every corner he can find. He's going up some riprap right next to the road right now as you're watching. But he caught a fish that helped call just a moment ago. His smallest fish was a 2-pound 2-ouncer, and he caught about a 3.5-pounder. It shows him around 24 pounds, but his Marshall Gary, who's also from Texas, I might add, says he's probably got 25. So expect at least 25 pounds out of Keith Combs. But I asked him how he caught him earlier, and you might have seen it from some of Gary's footage. He said he caught him out near the main river, although it was shallow, but he caught out to the main river earlier, I think, on the lipless, which we've seen before. But he's caught some of these fish that have helped him out here cranking. So a couple of different ways, but I think he's been relying on lipless crankbait and the conventional crankbait to catch his fish today.
We have to find this out. Looking at what he's done today, what happened yesterday?
Oh, I know. I said that, and he said, I'm doing the same thing.
Wow.
And I have a feeling when I was talking to him, I have a feeling it's the same thing in the same place, but for whatever reason, they've turned on. But haven't we talked about that? Things are going to warm up. They're going to get more active, and I think that's exactly the case for Keith because, I mean, he was just kind of shaking his head like almost like, I don't know why. I don't know what I could have done yesterday. I mean, doing the same thing, and he catches 3/5. He's in 43rd place, and now you look at him, he's got 3 of the biggest fish of the day so far.
A little bit ago,
I think we talked. It's timing.
Timing.
Yeah, hang on. Let me look at the temperature right now where I'm at. Temperature's 53.5. You know, when I was down there near Brown, I don't think it made it to 50. So 3.5 degrees difference up here. I'm seeing a little bit of current coming through here. They're getting a lot of pressure in this spot. He actually had something on that was massive. It didn't get it up. We don't know if it was a bass. We don't know if it was a carp or a catfish. I didn't really see it rolling, but he got it really right near the surface, and she come unbuttoned. And then he wound up catching that 3.5 in the same spot, almost the same type of cast, about a minute later. A fish that helped call just a moment ago. His smallest fish was a 2-pound 2-ouncer, and he caught about a 3.5-pounder. It shows him. This area looks familiar, though. You remember this?
Yes, very much so.
I'm very familiar
We
with
got
that area.
25, so expect at least 25 pounds out of Keith Combs. But I asked him how he caught earlier. You might have seen it from some of Gary's. Just a moment ago, there was probably 3 guys fishing this broken down bridge. And in front of Keith and to the right, I believe, is Jamie Hartman. You see a recreation angle going by him right now. But a lot of activity through here. There were probably 5 kayaks that shot through here a moment ago. I asked him if there was a kayak tournament. There were so many, but he said, no, we're just fishing.
Find this out. Looking at what he's done today.
You know, the riprap from him. But I just really haven't been many places today, but I would have to say the other days look like they had more, at least from what I saw. Oh, I know. I said that, and he said, I'm doing the same thing. Wow. And I have a feeling when I was talking to him, I have a feeling it's the same thing in the same place, but for whatever reason, they've turned it on. But haven't we talked about that? Things are going to warm up. They're going to get more active, and I think that's exactly the case for Keith. Because he was just kind of shaking his head, like almost like, I don't know.
I'm like that everywhere.
I don't know what I could have done yesterday. I was doing the same thing, and he catches 3/5. He's in 43rd place.
You don't jerk on these things hard.
He's got 3 of the
Go
biggest
carp
fish,
fishing at home, then you jerk hard.
I think we talked this time. Timing.
Yeah, hang on. Let me look at the temperature right now where I'm at. Temperature's 53.5. You know, when I was down there in the Brown, I don't think it made it to 50. So 3.5 degrees difference up here.
Just hard to take your eyes off that boat dock.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
You can't.
There is no doubt.
The great stories in all of those boxes right there for sure, but including our leader, Jerry. But man, what we've seen in the last 40 minutes right there, and that boat dock that ought to be in the Bass Fishing Museum of History.
Because you know it's going to be a fire drill if it happens.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
This area looks familiar, though. You remember this?
Yes, very much so.
I'm very familiar with that.
Just a moment ago, there was probably 3 guys fishing this broken down bridge.
Well, you know, in order for a
in front of Keith,
place to be unpredictable, something's got to happen, and stuff has been happening here. We love the chaos, and we love the unpredictability. We love being here at the Bassmaster Classic Outdoors Expo, which is absolutely teeming with people. As you would, oh man, take another look at it really quick. Look at this.
Wow. Look at that.
The
That is
humanity.
awesome.
The humanity, ladies and gentlemen.
No
that is
doubt.
fantastic.
And I'll tell you something, Tommy Sanders.
Would you treat him
not-
to something?
Well, I think it's the easiest thing on Captain Obvious today, my friend. You know, I was sitting here pondering what was going to be the power pole replay of the. Well, Tommy Sanders, you know what's interesting is really the last hour of this tournament. Hey, Brandon Lester, my friend, somebody made a comment yesterday after the weigh-in. His name was Matt Herron, and he said, listen, guys, I'm going to tell you something. They're coming. I don't know when, but they are coming in the next 48 hours. Well, they did. They came right to that, Doc. Hey, Brandon Lester, you are the... And you can call it, really? You are the power pole several replays of the day. That right there, to me, is probably one of the finest fish catches we've seen all season long.
You know, catching a big one on a jig in the Bassmaster Classic is one thing, but throwing over these ropes, under these pontoons and beside these pilots, it's absolutely incredible.
It's like one of these Walinda's brothers acts here.
I'm going to go as
It's
far as
just
to say,
incredible.
he is going to call everything he caught this morning off that dock by the end of the day, and I'm going to tell you, if he does get another one of those fire drills, I mean, I'm just going to cover myself in grace. You, Brandon Lester, you. That's right. I love not to make sense of the Bassmaster Classic because that is what we do, Tommy Sanders.
Well, it's classic.
But today, you, Brandon Lester, thus far, are the power pole replay. of the
We've had a couple guys get back in the game. Look out for Keith Combs, the move he's made today. Brandon Lester certainly helped his...
Davey, I'm going to tell you something. You got a little more pep in your step seeing a few jig catches.
Yes. You know I love that. You know I love
Flare
that.
and sizzle.
I think it's back on again. The switch is on Guntersville. This is a huge high-stakes event. We'll take a break and come right back.
The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook, is being brought to you live by Power Pole.
Absolutely teeming with people, as you would. Take a look at it real quick. Look at that.
Chris Lane brings the pain. Casey Ashley, the native son, gets it done. Jordan Lee, back-to-back domination, unbelievable.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new Tour Grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
The season is starting and it's time for you to bring it. Pit your knowledge against friends and fans everywhere in Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing. It's free and it starts by signing up. Then pick your 5-angler team for each event. Grand prize winner gets a Bass Pro Shop shopping spree, cash, and Rapala prize pack. Plus new opportunities including $4,000 worth of prizes for each individual event winner. Plus another $500 if you're a Bass member. Total value for the season is $90,000. Sign up today and start bringing it at BassmasterFantasy.com.
Everything he got this morning.
Pro football has its Super Bowl. Baseball, the World Series. For professional bass fishing fans, there's the Bassmasters Classic, the greatest fishing show on earth, the World Championship of Bass Fishing.
Over the course of 20 years, the Bassmaster Classic had advanced from a hopeful experiment to create a high-visibility fishing tournament to an established event that crowned an absolute world champion every year. By the start of the 1990s, every angler who aspired to tournament competition had the same ultimate goal, to somehow make it to the Classic stage.
When I made the Classic, this was my lifetime quest to winning. The biggest thing about the Bassmasters Classic is you're consumed with it. I was totally consumed with that one tournament.
It was something that pros and even some amateurs could aspire to. And they did, because the Classic was number one. Nothing else came close.
By the way, this man coming through the chute right now, folks, is the only man ever to win the Bassmaster Classic 3 times. Rick Klein of Montgomery, Texas.
The 1980s had ended with Hank Parker becoming the third angler to win 2 Classics. The 90s began with Rick Clunn, who won back-to-back Classics in 76 and 77, winning a record-setting 4th Classic on the James River.
Folks, he's got to have about 10 pounds. What's he got to have? 11 pounds, 9 ounces. He's got to have it. 18 pounds. He's going to be all right. Bassmaster Classic champion, Rick Clunn.
When you win one championship, the big championship, the Super Bowl, the Bassmaster Classic, the Masters, some people that are satisfied with that, but there's a few rare ones that aren't. And I guess I was one of those. Every sport has that. There's this one individual that decides he's going to run under a 4-minute mile. And I was able to do that.
Another Classic first happened in 1994. An amateur pathway to the Classic had been established via qualification through the Bass Nation organization. Connecticut amateur Brian Kirchhoff had qualified for the 1993 Classic at Lake Logan Martin in Alabama and had finished last. He qualified again in 1994, determined to change the outcome this time. At High Rock Lake in North Carolina, the long shot from New England became the first and only amateur to win the Bassmaster Classic.
We need 8 pounds and 15 ounces to see if you're going to win this tournament. 11 pounds, 4 ounces market. There's your winner of the Bassmaster Classic.
Sadly, he perished in a plane crash later that year. The 1990s would also see George Cochran win again, and names like Denny Brower and Mark Davis put on the trophy. And in New Orleans, South Carolina's Davey Hite would win his world championship on the Louisiana Delta.
The one thing about winning the Classic, you're always introduced as the Bassmaster Classic champion. You can have some other titles, you can have some other victories, but to win the Bassmaster Classic, no one ever forgets that.
30 years of momentum for the greatest show in fishing, and the new millennium was just around the corner. The 1980s had ended with Hank Parker becoming the third.
Serious competitors demand serious tech. We've hand-selected top anglers from fisheries around the U.S. We've taken them to Lake El Salto, Mexico, and armed them with a full one-boat network setup from Minn Kota and Humminbird. Their mission? Do battle in a series of challenges designed to prove their fishing skill, all to create a new legend and put the ultimate fishing system to the ultimate test.
One championship, the big championship, the Super Bowl, the Bassmaster Classic, the Masters. Some people are satisfied.
What them sons of fish is up to now?
Fellas, I give you the Force Trolling Motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. Really in trouble now.
Another Classic first.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here.
What a dumb bass.
Built for the guy who has everything and needs to tow it. The Tow and Stow is equipped with multiple ball sizes.
Change the outcome this time.
Towing. Best of all, it stows when you aren't using it, away from your shins and garage door. Machined from American steel, with a 2-stage finish, the Tow and Stow is the last hitch you'll ever need.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Power Pole.
Am I out? Is that what you heard?
Welcome back. 50th edition of the Bassmaster Classic. Just history in the making here. 50 years of history of the World's Championship, the greatest tournament in all of the sport. Hank Cherry, North Carolina, the man on top, and he has held that position since he put the bass on the scales yesterday and laid down 29-plus pounds. He's done a job today. A lot of guys have moved closer, and Brandon Lester's been the big mover in the last hour, coming from way off the pace, down in 7th or 8th place, right up to 2nd place with some up and down, totally exciting fish catching interludes there on one of the most famous boat docks in the world. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We are ready to go, and we welcome now yet another cavalcade of special guests here. We talk about Guntersville being a singularity, a place that's not like anything. Here's a singularity right here. A noted sportscaster who is also a beast for bass fishing. Tom Abraham, the host of Bassmaster Radio. Tom, can't thank you enough for having time for us today.
Well, it's like it's Happy New Year, right? I mean, this is here we are at this unbelievable classic with the crowds here are incredible at the Outdoor Expo. It's been really fun. And guys, I got to tell you, I mean, I'm sitting with legends now, and Zona's out here somewhere, another legend. No, these are broadcast legends, but I had an opportunity about an hour ago to shoot a TV commercial with the legends. I did a commercial with Jimmy Houston and Roland Martin and Bill Dance.
Oh, man.
We shot for 15 minutes to get 60 seconds worth. Bill broke the table that we were sitting in front of, which is classic Bill Dance. So, but I mean, that's the kind of thing that's going on here. Everybody who's anybody in bass fishing is here. We've got one of the greatest fisheries in the country here with Guntersville, and it's been good. And it's my neighbor here, Brandon Lester, literally. I mean, there's a guy that lives down the street not too far from where I live in southern Tennessee, and it's really good to see him on this, on this dock bite.
Best of all.
Well, I don't know if you had a chance to see what Brandon was able to do
I've been watching,
in the last 40 minutes. I think everybody would love to see a little bit of a highlight of that right there, because, I mean, it's some of the most heart-stopping moments in the sport of fishing, I have to say.
Absolutely, and we're going to put you to work, Tom. We're not going to let you just sit here and watch it.
No, you make the call.
Let's see you make the calls on his fish catches today. Well, I'll tell you what, too, that jig that he was fishing, I saw that on Media Day when I interviewed him for a Bassmaster Radio Minute. It was sitting on his front deck, and I was like, where did that come from? That's a good-looking jig, and sure enough, it's that same exact jig. Of course, here at Guntersville, that red color, whether it's a lipless crankbait or a shallow running crankbait, it's such a good color here. Chatterbaits, everything's red, it seems like. But he's using a brown jig that's doing some serious damage around the docks. This is the area that he caught. I don't think everything he weighed in yesterday. It was a little slower for him this morning, and moved to this area with the jig and marked a lot of fish, but I think that's the only fish he caught, and this is where he made up a lot of ground. Yeah, this is where he started pitching in there. He broke that first one off. And then he was able to come back with this. Now, I thought that this was the same fish possibly, but I was talking to Ronnie Moore, who was over there with Such at the kids' table. And
don't say that.
Well, you got to buck up for that Hall of Fame desk over there, Tom. Come on now, watch out.
And Ronnie made a good point. He said, no, he thinks that the way he had hooked that one, that other jig might have still been in his mouth if it was, if that was the same fish. This is where it gets hairy here now. Now you're pitching up in there in that tight area, and you've got that rope laying there, and he's got to hoist it up and over that rope. And this takes some skill here, Davey, as you know, for him to flip it just at the right time. Zona mentioned earlier, and he both flips a 6. I'm absolutely loving this right now. I love to fish a jig, everyone knows, and just the excitement of all the wood in the water, all these ropes and props, and I'm sure metal and everything else in the water there. He's really done good to put. He only broke that one off. Percentage-wise, he's done great. This is the one that makes you real nervous, because he took an extra minute to get this one up and over the rope. But just tremendous stuff. And, guys, there was a lot of talk about him last year in Knoxville. They were talking about him like he was one of the local favorites. Well, the reality is he had never been to that water before. That was not his water. He was not a local favorite. But this is his water. He's a Tennessee River rat.
Of that right there, because I mean, it's some of the most heart-stopping moments in the sport of fishing, I have to say.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was the wind shifted today straight out of the north, and where I caught most of my fish yesterday
It was getting blown out. I could just tell it was time to do something different. So instead of staying there beating my head against the wall all day, I said, well, I got a few bites on these docks. I've caught them here in the past. I wanted to come in here and just thought maybe I could catch one good one, and I pulled up and caught 3 good ones. So it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. I think these fish are coming in here. See, the main lake's just right there. So I think these fish are coming in here and staging under these docks because every one I caught is just super fat. So I think those females have come in here and they're staging under these docks before they spawn right back there. It's the kind of call you need to make on the second day of the Classic when you got 9 or 10 pounds in the box. So I feel pretty good about it right now.
Yeah, this is where he started pitching in there. He broke that first one off. And,
I don't know. I'll tell you in just a minute. No, I normally. Yeah, we hadn't hit this dock yet. I typically prefer that one because it's got a lot of brush and stuff on it. But to be honest with you, I've never fished this one that much, so time will tell. We're fixing to find out. I'm gonna go down here and start from this end.
This is where it gets hairy here now. Now you're pitching up in there in that tight area, and you've got that rope laying there, and he's got to hoist it up and over that.
Well, Tom, give us the other half of that. He's not really a Fort Lauderdale guy.
No.
Is he more of a Gunnersville guy?
There's no doubt. I mean, this is from where he lives in Fayetteville. He's right there by Wheeler, Gunnersville, and that north end of the lake, the Miracle Mile, as we call it, that area just north of Goose Pond. A lot of guys that live in Tennessee kind of stop there, and that's where you'll put in, and they really know that area really, really well. But he's got a lot of spots here. He feels like, I know when I talk to him, he feels like he's got plan B, C, D, and E. Sometimes that hurts you, right, Davey? If you're too familiar with the water, but, in this particular case, he knows there's different places he can go to and have confidence.
That's true, but we've talked about Brandon this week, and he just got that feel that he can do this. And I'm not saying I never ever thought that he couldn't, but he's just been getting better each and every year, making good decisions, coming so close to winning a lead event, being very high up in Angler of the Year standings the last few years. I mean, you could just see him and know that this guy's about to win a Classic or an Angler of the Year.
I think he's a superstar to make it. I really do.
Absolutely.
I think he has that kind of mentality. I think he's a guy that people will rally around. He's really, really good people.
Yes.
Great job by the cameraman out there zooming in on the pictures of his family on his, under deck on his Phoenix there, and that was tremendous work as well. So it's really interesting to see what's going on here. Another thing, too, guys, is I've been 2 weeks ago, there was an ABT tournament here that was won with 30-pound bag. Mike Carter was on Bassmaster Radio this morning, the guy that won that tournament. And he talked very openly about the swim jig. And it was all, the most of the damage they did was on a regular swim jig. And it was a red swim jig with a rage craw on it. And we really haven't seen it. We're seeing a lot of bladed jigs, but he was in 3 or 4 feet of water. And a lot of lily pad, that type of activity. I've been there, and you wonder about tomorrow with one more day of warming and this field cut in half. You wonder about whether or not somebody's going to get really shallow. Keith Combs is sneaking up on that. We all know where Keith is. Everybody knows that spot. And he's sneaking up on it. But somebody's going to get real shallow and do some damage. And, they had an 8.5 and a 7.5 before 8 o'clock in the morning. Wow.
Man, we needed
and
that.
Tomorrow morning, with that hour difference, you're going to get an extra hour of early morning stuff. So.
Well, Tom, give us the other half of that.
Now we just need about 4 more go like it.
This is from where he lives.
Big upgrade there for David Mullins.
No kidding. He's got a 2-pounder in there.
We'll need your step right there. I was about to pull the trigger and get out of here, and I'm like, well.
It was moments ago. Let's get back to David Mullins live.
Sometimes that hurts you, right, Davey? If you're too familiar with the water, but in this particular case, he knows there's different places he can go to and have confidence.
That's true, but what we talked about, Brandon.
Davey, you were talking about Lester. His opens record, I mean, it's like a 40% shot. He's going to make a top 10 every event. That's hard to do.
Yeah, fishing against a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Very high up in Angler of the Year standings the last few years. I mean, you could just see him and know that this all these guys are good. You don't qualify for the Bassmaster Classic if you're not good, but you just see guys that are really peaking and just really got it all going on. And
well, Hank Cherry, our leader, I thought is another guy like that. I was a little fearful early on that, he might spin out a little bit. We talk about this lake having the 30-pound bag, right? The 30-pound bag is here to 30-pound. You know what else is out there? The 7-pound bag.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? And that's the other
more
part.
often than not.
Exactly.
This weekend.
You hate to be negative, but, as an old football coach, we always talk about, football is a matter of whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is the winner, and that applies a lot of times to bass fishing because, that's that fear that a guy that has a 7 or 8 pound lead can have a 7-pound bag, and now here comes the cavalry from behind. So it was good to see him fill out that limit, and I know it's not a points deal, but really there's that comfort factor of having that limit, having it, even if it's 12 pounds, it's in the boat. Now you can go looking for the hog mollies, but it's it's been good. It's painful to watch him cast, though. Watching Hank cast, that you can tell it hurts him, that it's hurting him. But sure, he wishes he could get on a pitch and bite or a flip and bite somewhere where he doesn't have to reach out.
Well, let's talk about the volatility in the other direction going up. If you start tomorrow and you are 10 pounds back, 11, maybe even 12 pounds back,
well, you need
is
help.
It possible?
I think
of course you got to have help.
I think the sweet spot's about 7,
okay.
7.5, because but you have to have help. You have to go those guys in front of you that don't do anything. We saw it at the St. John's, right?
Sure.
I mean, all of a sudden nothing happened at the top of the leaderboard, and boom, you had Paul Mueller shooting up that board. He didn't think he won that tournament. When he was coming in with his little 4-pound or his 4-fish deal. But so yeah, I think anybody that's wins 7 or 8 pounds is live, and you can have that monster bag. It's going to be really important to those guys that are right near the top that they at least have a representable bag. Hank Cherry can put himself in a position where 13 pounds will win the tournament. If he goes in with a 7-pound, 8-pound lead, 13, 14 pounds
should do it.
Davey, you were talking about Lester.
Not that you want to think that way. I'm just saying.
It's like a 40% shot he's going to make a top 10 every event. That's hard to do.
Yeah, fishing against a couple hundred people.
Yeah.
That one in the top right we'll look out for, too. That John Cruz is getting close to winning one of these deals.
He's overdue. He heard from him this morning, a little clip where he said, 12 years. I've never been in contention.
Yeah.
Never.
We're seeing him in contention more and more in elite events. And as this weather continues to get better, I think that he'll continue to get stronger.
Weather reflected in our TH Marine Weather Watch. 50 degrees right now. Still hasn't come near the expected high today. It's been a little slower warm-up than expected. The wind has remained steady at 7 miles an hour, more easterly than it was yesterday. Tomorrow, though, everything moving in the right direction. Coming out of the south, warmer.
Yeah.
Well, Davey, what do you think? Air temperature or wind laying down? What is a bigger factor? Because the water temperature doesn't change too drastically.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The cold nights really affect, and it got colder last night than anticipated. It hasn't warmed up. The water temperature, air temperature, some, and the wind direction and the wind speed. Yesterday it was 20 on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If that's 20 out of the south, you better be catching them.
Yeah.
The direction of that wind, the north wind, but that's usually certainly associated with the temperatures. Out of the north, you're typically going to be cold, or colder, and then out of the south this time of year is going to be a real good thing. But a lot of those guys, that north wind just dirtied the water for them. It's hard to understand. I know you know, Tom, but the upper end of Guntersville is high. The lower end, even with 1 million gallons of water a minute being passed through there, the lower end is low. So when that wind blows those banks, it muddies up a lot, and that's what hurt some of those guys yesterday. And it just hasn't calmed down enough to really settle out.
It has been surprising that there's as much clear, we'll say, not the chocolate milk that we see Clint Davis in there, but as much clear water as there is out there. Because, guys, when I tell you we have had biblical rain here for the last, 25 inches plus of rain over the last several weeks, and it has been really something. And it's going to be interesting to see how this carries over 2 weeks from now, 2 lakes up with Chickamauga. How much clear water they're able to find. But it really opened up, that wind laying down opened up so much more of the lake. They always say that, you know, the possibility of this lake fishing small. I think it's fishing big today.
That's what you love about coming to a great fishery. This is certainly one of the greatest, but for people to spread out, do their own thing, so to speak. It's because we got guys doing so many different things. You can fish your strengths, and you can find boat docks, you can find offshore structure, you can find all the different vegetations, you can, you know, just fish your strengths.
Let's get back to our leader. Very familiar spot right here for Hank Cherry.
Guess you can call that the Miracle Mile, too.
Boy, it is.
That can be the Miracle Half Mile. And he's on the right side of that, too. I like when, I don't know, David, I like when those waves are hitting that rip-rap and you know, those fish get frisky with all of that. You see some of that eelgrass floating. That's been the other big thing here. Obviously, the well-known story, the change in the grass over the last 5 years. And the lake went through a little bit of a soft point when that eelgrass first came in. Yeah, it makes it tough to fish. He's right. It makes it tough to fish.
Ruins everything.
It makes it tough to fish.
I don't know if it ruined everything.
There's a lot of places that I know I would love for there to be some eelgrass.
Yeah. Well, I think the fishermen got better. Look, the fish didn't go anywhere. I think we did lose maybe a year class or two of fish, and it was at soft point a couple of years ago, but the fish were using it. It was more the fishermen that had to get used to the eelgrass. This is a different kind of grass to fish, and it's more of a problem on top than it is, you know, fishing it in
I love to fish it.
I love fishing it. It just, I don't like when it's floating all over on top and you can't.
Absolutely.
It's following you all the time, but it's only following you when you're coming out of the water.
It just hasn't calmed down enough to really settle out.
It has been surprising that there's as much clear, we'll say. You know, those waves, though, hitting that rip-rap and knocking whatever bait that's in there, and the crawfish and everything, knocking them out of there, and it can get really good. For the last, 25 inches plus of rain.
I don't know if you heard this. We were talking to Rick Clunn a little earlier, Tom, and he told us back in 76 when he fished it, it was just as good. The fishing was just good.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody ever fished the rip-rap.
And I don't understand it. It's in all these lakes down here, and it's a good feeling, except for he's hung up. Especially when you have this high sun, right? It's going to heat up the water quicker around it. I mean, literally a couple of degrees warmer right up against it because the rocks hold that heat. And it's one of those spots. This lake here, I don't know if the word community hole was invented on Gunnersville. Everybody talks about community hole. This is a community. This whole lake is a community hole. Yeah. I mean, you know, once you get over 10 or 12 community holes, the whole lake is a community.
It's contiguous,
hole. Yeah, we all know these popular spots.
Glenn nailed it. I totally agree. There's no secrets on most lakes, especially this one.
Yeah.
Although I don't know where Todd Otten is fishing. I will be honest with you there. That's why the guy opened the door for him. That was nice. I guess you can call that the Miracle Mile, too. that can be the Miracle Half Mile. But he's on the right side of that, too. I like when, I don't know, David, I like when those waves are hitting that rip-rap and you know, those fish get frisky with all of that. You see some of that eelgrass floating. That's been the other big thing here. Obviously, the well-known story,
got some bonus coverage on the way. B&W trailer hitches on the line. And there he is, started today just out of the top 10. We just missed being with Brandon Card all day long. And we were kind of, frankly, fired up after hearing him talk about kind of what he was doing, how it was different. Again, another guy doing something a little bit different. And tell us what you've been up to today. Was it basically the way you laid it out yesterday, Brandon?
Well, I think the fishermen got back. Look, the fish didn't go.
Looks like it.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, this morning was just, so as you can see, fishing the same area that I told you guys about here in Browns Creek, just banging these rocks out here in the middle. But the morning bite was definitely way off. Yesterday morning, it was super good, fast and furious. This morning, I didn't hardly catch anything for like probably 2 hours. Finally started to kind of catch them, and then I just recently caught one a little under 4.5, so I'm kind of upgrading throughout the day, but it's definitely a little bit slower than it was yesterday.
It can get really good.
Was this something you found right at the end of practice, or had you?
Basically, what I've been doing is
He told us back in '76.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fishing was just as good. The fishing was just good. Nobody ever fished.
No, actually,
And I don't understand it.
Actually, I found this the first day of practice. It was right after we had that. There was a little bit of sleet that came through, and just rolled over here and had a 4-pounder on this one, and then ran over there and had a 5-pounder on that one. And I was just like, well, I'll just keep this in my back pocket. Obviously, it's right here by the ramp. And so, the next 3 days of practice, I never found anything better. So I just figured I'll start here. And sure enough, as soon as I came over here yesterday, they were biting really good yesterday morning. So that just kind of gave me the confidence to just kind of hunker down and pretty much just stay here all day.
So Brandon, you mentioned that in practice you try to expand and fish things similar. This being such a unique situation, the places that you're fishing here, and I won't go into it any more than that, but do you feel like during the tournament you're going to have to find something close to or similar to this that you can catch some more fish, or do you think these places could reload?
Well, I'm hoping that they'll reload. About every time that I think about running somewhere, then I'll either catch one or I'll, hook up and then one will pull off. So it's like it just kind of keeps me here. But there about an hour ago, I was like, I'm going to go try some other areas. And then I caught that one that's right under 4.5. So I guess if they just stop biting completely, obviously I'll leave. But, as long as there's some sort of activity, I think I would be crazy to just leave fish to find fish. I actually just missed one that felt like a big one. I was jerking that jerk bait, and I jerked it, didn't even feel anything. I was like, oh, he's got it, he's swimming to me. And I set the hook, and he was like bulldog and just pulled off, and it felt like a really big one. I mean, honestly, if I had some other areas where I knew, I could roll up and catch them, I would go there. But, that's just kind of how tough my practice was.
So Brandon, I have one more question, and we'll let you fish on. But I'd like for you to talk to everyone on Bassmaster Live, like you were talking to Tommy and Zonai last night. Your career, you changed the way you practice and the way you fish about a year or two ago. Tell us a little bit about what you went through there for a few years, and you have changed that, and it's been working really well for you.
It was right after we had that. There was a little bit of sleet that came through. I actually just gave a seminar the other day, and the title of the seminar was Fish Smarter. And really, that's what I had to do last year. 2018 season was by far my worst year on tour. And so I just had the goal going into the 2019 season that I just needed to fish smarter. And basically, there was several things that I, figured out that I was doing wrong. But one of the things was that I just would always search for these needle in a haystack areas. Basically like a place like I found at the Sabine River where I crawled through that culvert and, found an untapped, population of fish. And, that's what I looked for, like constantly. Like after that tournament, I was kind of like consumed with, finding untapped fish. And I would literally waste about a day of every practice. So that was pretty dumb, just, chasing that all the time. But then really just other stuff like leaving fish to find fish. I was notorious for just like having a wild hair and, just like what I'm doing right now. I'm hunkering down in these areas. A couple of years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I would have made a hot pass through here, then I would have just, ran around running through water. And, fishing at this level, you need to be setting your boat down in areas where you know that there's population. Just freestyling it. That works out every now and then. It definitely works out like on my home lake, back home, like on North Lake. Like, yeah, I can run a gun and do whatever. But on these lakes, fishing at this level, really.
Well,
Brandon, thanks so much for your time. A lot can happen between now and the end of the day, and hopefully when it's all said and done at the weigh-in, you'll be in position to, maybe be giving some seminars on how to win a classic. I don't know. Maybe by next week. You never know how good. Take you back to the BJCC Arena. It's an iconic place in the sport of bass fishing and the Bassmaster Classic Expo. So much fun out there. And again, we got plenty more fishing on the way for you here on Bassmaster Live. But right now, we got to load up. We need refreshment on our knowledge. And there's one source of knowledge around here, and it's Ronnie and his screen. Guys, hit it for us.
Well, hey, this is going to be a little bit of reflection, Tommy. We got the Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing, sponsored by Rapala this year. And at the Classic, it's a 3-day event. You got to pick your team wisely. And these are the best people so far that have picked it. We discussed it a little bit earlier, but this first team sitting there with Hank Cherry, John Cruz, Clint Davis, Todd Auden. You can't get much better than those 4 selections. And then Daryl Gleason sitting there inside the top 25 after yesterday. That is one to watch. If he can move up, if this team can all make the cut today, which it looks like most of them should, he'll be in a good position to maintain the tournament lead. And then the second place team, there's 2 teams tied for second place, had the exact same lineup. Brandon Lester, John Cruz, Clint Davis, Todd Auden, and Daryl Gleason. So that's been the 5 that you need to select, and then 1 or 2 guys can be slightly different. And as we go over to the guy leading overall, those were the best 2 for this Classic event. For the guys leading overall, B Maddox 8730. This was the lineup at the St. John's River. Scott Canterbury, Micah Frazier, Kelly J, Kyle Welcher, Buddy Gross. And then we go over to the Classic one. Matt Herron, John Cruz, David Mullins, Skylar Hamilton, and Cody Huff. Those 2 teams right there have B Maddox 8730 sitting on top of all of fantasy fishing. Basically, a tournament and a half into the season, which a lot of big prizes. You're not only winning Bass Pro Shops gift cards, Rapala prize packs, but if you're a Bassmaster member and you win, you get an extra $500 gift card to Bass Pro Shops. So sign up. You can jump in any event. Like I mentioned earlier, 3 of the top 20 teams this week didn't set a lineup for the St. John's. So they're brand new to fantasy fishing as of the Classic, and they're cashing in and have a chance at prizes this week.
Ronnie, you are the B Maddox 8730 of our crew.
I think that's Davey's team, right?
Every time you bring them.
Knocking it out. Great job, Ronnie.
Quick, cute story. Gerald Swindle, we have a fantasy guest picker for each week or for each tournament. So we use Gerald Swindle, obviously, with his knowledge of Guntersville for this one. And his wife was played fantasy fishing for the first time at the St. John's, and she finished in the 95th percentile. Everybody thought she had inside information. And Lulu, as she's known around these parts, she picked Buddy Gross because Buddy's wife has the same name as her. She picked another guy because he lives near the lake. Picked another one because she liked the way the boat looked. And she ended up in the 95th percentile. So
everybody's different. And she's a marvel. You're a marvel, Tom Abraham. The Bassmaster Radio, I tell you what, you keep it so contemporary. If you read about something you want to know about it, chances are you can dial up Bassmaster Radio, and the next edition will fill you in on it. You just do a great job.
I appreciate you saying that. Bassmaster.com/radio, and all 150-plus episodes are still right there, so people can go in there and listen to it.
Thank you for being with us today.
So much.
Definitely check it out if you've not, and return often. You'll want to. Tom Abraham really giving us some great knowledge today, some local knowledge, because he is a Guntersville guy. As we look at some shots from the weigh-in on day number 1. Todd Auden put himself in position today and did what it takes to stay in position. He's going to hang tight in that top 10 today.
Todd Auden had won about 7.5 pounds yesterday. That certainly was a big helper. Matt Herron with a good day yesterday.
The weigh-in, we remind you, coming up today, 4:30 p.m. on Bassmaster.com. Be loud, be rowdy, be thunderous, and so much excitement as we get ready for the ultimate day of the World Championship coming up on Championship Sunday. That is tomorrow. We're going to spring forward to a World Championship is what we'll be doing on that day. That's the place. There's no other place like it. Lake Guntersville. We don't worry about places not reloading much around here,
no,
man.
Not here.
It reloads. It reloads.
And I think we're going to have a record crowd here.
Yeah,
I really
you think
do.
so?
I think we're going to go over 153,000.
All right. Maybe beat out Knoxville. You never can tell. Join us today and see what it's looking like. And, of course, tomorrow we'll be back with more of Bassmaster Live when we return.
The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook, is being brought to you live by Power Pole.
up this spring at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Serious competitors demand serious tech. We've hand-selected top anglers from fisheries around the U.S. We've taken them to Lake El Salto, Mexico, and armed them with a full one-boat network setup from Minn Kota and Humminbird. Their mission? Do battle in a series of challenges designed to prove their fishing skill, all to create a new legend and put the ultimate fishing system to the ultimate test.
You're a marvel, Tom. Overhead, the Bassmaster Radio.
What an awesome place to have the Bonus Bucks event right here on Pickwick Lake. This is definitely bass fishing country, and it's great to see this Toyota Owners Tournament come to this venue.
The Toyota Owners event's really cool. It's a standalone deal. Just be part of the Bonus Bucks program. You get invited to the event for free. So if you haven't registered for Bonus Bucks, it's a free program, and not only can you win all the bonus money in the tournaments, you can also attend the Owners event for free.
You're crazy if you don't sign up. That's the whole reason I bought my Toyota. No other truck manufacturer does more for fishermen than Toyota.
The way in
As a professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
Bassmaster sweepstakes prizes are crazy good, and you'd be crazy not to enter. Enter now for your chance to win a fishing trip with 2019 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Scott Canterbury. Trip includes hotel, airfare, rental car, and $500 spending cash, plus a Skeeter Boat ZX190W with Yamaha SHO outboard, Lowrance electronics, and an amazing prize package. Total value $52,000. There's a 100% chance you won't win if you don't enter. Go to Bassmaster.com and up the odds in your favor. It's fast and easy, and who knows, you could win.
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
Shrimp po' boy, fried chicken. Man, Academy has the best selection in bait. Oh, gotta get a badonkadonk. What else do we have here? Oh, the twitch and mullet. Definitely. Gone fishing.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Power Pole.
Not much more than an hour left in the fishing time for our 53 hopefuls for the World Championship out there today. The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic Moving Day. Day number 2 out on Lake Guntersville, and Hank Cherry, who really sort of blew up the weigh-in yesterday. Remaining on top of the leaderboard, trying to position himself, trying to get a little lead for himself, a little extended lead. It's pretty good right now. Brandon Lester, John Cruz, and all the rest. Let's get out to Hank Cherry in a very familiar position right here. And this is some, of course, this is footage from previous catches.
With that great catch yesterday and a 7-pound, 11-ounce lead, he just needed to not run the bus in the ditch kind of deal. And he's done a good job. Has not had the bites. It's not been as easy for him today. He's done a good job.
No doubt about it. And really, we talked about this early. You just nailed it. Just avoid the complete derailment. And he's done that. And I think we spoke about this. I think we've got him a little bit light probably for the day. But still, you know, he's really only working on half of the weight that he weighed in yesterday.
I think we've got Lester a little light also, though.
I do too.
So it kind of all works out. I know there's some guys that would love to see him with only a 4-pound lead instead of a 7-pound lead.
Brandon Lester's kind of been turned into a human highlight reel today, that is for sure, especially in the second part of the day. Started up where we found him yesterday.
He did, and it was slower there. We sort of expected this maybe with a change in direction of wind and what he was doing there. But when he went to plan B and plan C, boy, they weren't working out. And I thought, ooh, he said he had a plan D and even E. And I think it was about that far along before he finally went to the boat docks. And boy, did his day change, his classic change, his chances to win the World Championship of Professional Bass Fishing certainly changed when he laid down the liplets and picked up the jig.
I'm very curious just from watching this footage right here, fishing just south of the B.B. Comer Bridge early today. I'm very curious to see how he starts his day tomorrow.
What's your guess? That's a great.
I don't know. Just while you guys were up here with Tom Abraham, I was sitting there thinking about it. And here's the other side of it. Granted, anybody that's watching this at home knows the best time to fish boat docks when the skies get high. But I'm going to tell you something. We've covered events here where they've mauled them off those docks early too.
Yeah. Here's my 2 cents worth. The warmer night.
Yep. So
I know what I would do if I was in.
I know.
If it was going to be, as cold as it was last night, I'd do what he did today. That warmer night will help things. Help these shallow
Yes.
fish.
It's going to be lighter an hour later, too. Light an hour later as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
good point. Because they've been
that.
starting a good solid hour after daylight, or let's say safe light.
Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, if they take off at 7 like they had the previous 2 days, I'm pretty sure that's what the trip's going to do, then it'll just be barely safe light.
I'm going to tell you, besides the one that he broke off, he's living right, because a couple of these, like that big melon head that he swung before this one, things are going the correct way for you.
Absolutely. You fish docks as much as anybody, Z. It's just when you land 2 out of 3 in this environment, you're living right. Of course, Brandon Lester, comes from good folks. He's a good dude. Would love to see him with only a 4-pound lead instead of a 7-pound lead.
Brandon Lester's kind of been turned into a human highlight reel today, that is for sure, especially in the second part of the day. Started up where we found him yesterday.
I think Hank Cherry's been living right, too. He's with 29 pounds on day 1 on the 50th Bassmaster Classic. What he was doing there. And sustaining today. Plan C, boy, they weren't working out, and I thought, ooh, he said he had a plan D and even E, and I think it was about that far along before he finally went to the boat docks, and boy, did his day change, his classic change, his chances to win the World Championship of Professional Bass Fishing certainly changed when he...
I guess those guys are checking out themselves on live there.
Just from watching this footage right here, fishing just south of the B.B. Comer.
Boy, this sport has changed with Bassmaster Live.
No doubt. Very curious to see.
I can remember a time when you'd be fishing around a dock like that, and they'd say, "Get away from my dock." Now they're saying, "Are we on Bassmaster Live?"
Just while you guys were up here with Tom Abraham, I was sitting there thinking about it.
Hope you catch old Earl.
And here's the other side of it. Granted, anybody that's watching this at home knows best time to fish boat docks when the skies get high. But I'm going to tell you something. We've covered events here where they've mauled those docks early too.
Yeah. Here's my 2 cents worth. The warmer night.
Yep. So
I know what I would do if I was in. If it was going to be, as cold as it was last night, I'd do what he did today. That warmer night will help these shallow.
Yes. It's going to be lighter an hour later, too. Light an hour later as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Because they've been starting a good solid hour after daylight, or let's say safe light.
Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, if they take off at 7 like they had the previous 2 days, I'm pretty sure that's what the trip's going to do.
Boy, it stalled out for Todd Auten after this morning.
Surprising.
Hasn't had a keeper since 9 o'clock.
That
9 o'clock.
amazes me.
Yet he's still right there.
Has he gone to the other creek that we talked about? Do you
I
know?
don't think so. I'll find out. Really
Doesn't
quick.
look like it, does it? Absolutely. Just looking at the water. Clarity. As much as anybody, Z. It's just when you land 2 out of 3 in this environment, you're living right. Of course, Brandon comes from good folks. He's a good dude.
Kind of in the middle, another one of those lulls. There was a half hour. Mark Menendez caught his first fish about 10 minutes ago, breaking a fishless half hour for the field.
Hank Cherry be living right, too. He's with 29 pounds on day one on the 50th Bassmaster Classic. And sustaining today.
And looking down, day two's been a little bit tougher for Scott Canterbury and Matt Airy. Fishless still.
Wow.
That is...
Paul Mueller, one fish.
Yeah.
God, it's done.
I can remember a time when you'd be fishing around a dock like that, and they'd say, "Get away from my dock." Now they're saying, "Are we on Bassmaster Live?" Hope you catch old Earl.
Stalled out for Todd Alton after this morning. Surprising. Hasn't had a keeper since 9 o'clock. That amazes me. Yeah, he's still right there.
Has he gone to the other creek?
Seth Fider, one of the pre-tournament favorites, just caught a 2 pound and a quarter. He's up to 13th place. He's only got about 11 and a quarter today.
Boy, you wonder what happened to his main river strip of hydrilla. Gosh, he caught a monster bag in practice.
I could read your body language. You were thinking he was going to hammer a big bag today out there on that river, didn't you?
I really did. Yeah. I think he did too.
Yeah.
He was one of the more confident anglers coming into this.
He caught that. He made about 7 casts on the farthest south end of that stretch. He was working up to the waypoint, catches a 7-2 in practice after 5 or 6 casts and said, "No, I'm good, let's go." And we went straight back to the ramp and put it on the trailer an hour early.
So that's the world we live in as tournament anglers. No way you make another cast there, but it could have just been a fluke, and then you just gambled your whole tournament on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you do any different? You've got to do what he did.
But that's that kind of deal, that style fishing. It's an all-in gig.
Yeah.
That's I hope they're there, and if they're not, it's the classic go well.
Zaldane did it yesterday. Same deal, all in, and you think nothing about it when you're doing all the interviews right before the tournament starts. But then if it gets tough, then you think, man, I worked all year so hard to get here, and I put all my chips in one basket.
You know what I'd like to do this time of day, Tom?
Long about now, let's see. This is kind of has the feel of a Mercury move of the day moment.
Exactly right, my friend. Mercury move of the day. There's been some discrepancy on what it should be. We're going to start earlier today with Brandon Lester just south of the B.B. Comer Bridge. So much rich heritage. Mahogany rock. Well, I know. I know exactly right.
Friend Tom Abram called it the Miracle Mile. That's
the Miracle
a great
Mile.
name.
That's absolutely right. Exactly. Well, there's one in Detroit that's not as fun as this one.
Not as miraculous?
Exactly. Brandon Lester up there. Lake all day long, catching them on a lipless crankbait. And here's the thing that we did not see out of this area today. He caught, I'm talking about a dadgum Northern Alabama 205 stud yesterday. Solid fish, but no giants. Earlier today, went to a little jig spot, caught a keeper. with his cameraman and partner in crime, stepbrother Eric Kapka, taking a look at his fish catches right there south of the bridge. But it's when he made the move south, closer to our takeoff. We're going to call it the mid-lake area to this boat dock. Well, Brandon Lester, it's fair to say it's the first time we have granted you with this gift. Right here is the Mercury move of the day. And so far, I'm going to say that's the Mercury move of the tournament.
Hey, he had fallen back to 12th, 13th place, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Before he made this Mercury move of the day.
Imagine if he landed that one that he broke off.
Oh, my God.
Think about that. Is that terrible? Good stuff right there. Brandon Lester with a massive swing midday here. Day number 2 of the Bassmaster Classic.
That was breathtaking.
You're not done. Got a big fish. Tommy Z, Brandon Carp.
Gets tough, and it's, you think, man, I worked all year so hard.
Brandon Card, big fish, you say, Such.
Yeah, 6.5 pounders.
Stay on
right up to. It's up to 18 pounds today in 4th place.
Stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have been mightily blessed with fantastic guests today. Cavalcade continues. Carl Jacobson here, champion for Lake 10 Killer last year. Inspirational story. One of many inspirational stories in the sport of bass fishing here. And Carl, so great to have you at the Classic. Know you're working hard here, and you made some time for us. And what do you make of what you have seen today?
It's the show-wise, Bassmaster Classic, I've been to every single one since, I think, 2010 when I first came over here. This is the most insane classic I've ever seen. It's vicious out there. I barely made it. It's wild. There's so many fans. I just love the Bassmaster fans, and they're just crammed in there like crazy, and then trying to keep up with what's happening on the fishing side as well.
It was kind of a coming out party of sort the first time that we had you on camera on this lake.
Yep.
And then you go on to win a 10 Killer last year. And I'm going to get the common theme of you're getting to see guys starting to catch them on jigs. And I know you pretty much, I mean, you are married to a jig.
I am now.
Except the glider.
Yeah, that and the glider. Glider's, me and her, we're fighting right now.
Oh.
But the jig is something special. And when I look up, watching these guys fish and I see that rip wrap, it just brings back those memories. I love Gunnersville, just about, it's one of my favorite lakes in that 2015 Elite Series event. And they're catching them in Hank Cherry along that rip wrap wall. I've done well along some of those areas, so it's exciting to see how they're putting it all together, and it's just that diverse with the guys going from one side to the other. But
we're going to look at some of the stuff from that 215, but right now let's talk about that win from 2019 10 Killer, a fond memory I would imagine for you. Did you expect it to come in this place?
It was insane, I'm still, honestly, it hasn't even worn off one little bit. Every time I see that, my stomach just gets butterflies in it. It's pretty incredible.
One of the things that was interesting about that win on 10 Killer, and this is rare in an Elite Series level tournament, you kind of had, in a way, free reign of where and how you were catching them, and you knew it after the first day.
Yep. So the way I explain that is it was the last season and the pressure was on everyone else because they wanted to make the AOY championship. So they were catching fish up shallow, getting bites, and they're trying to just make that AOY. I had no pressure. I was out of in the points. I can't make the Classic. I was able to swing for it. And when I was looking around, it's just bank, 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 and I'm getting these individual bites offshore, and that's what clued me into I'm going to go for it. And I got 6 bites, 4 bites, 6 bites, 6 bites, and won the tournament.
Unreal.
It's pretty crazy.
What kind of Gunnersville is showing itself to you this week?
Yeah, just, the versatility of it. That's why I love Gunnersville. It's like you can look at that screen. It's like rip wrap, it's offshore, grass, docks. bridges, everything sort of plays on Gunnersville because they're just all different fish doing different things at one time.
Real quick, looking back on that, and I did a little bit of a blog about you and the last few years. We got to tape together, but we've been able to cover your career, which has been a series of highs and lows on and off the water.
Yep.
You're getting to see guys starting. How was it going into that last event and then coming out of it mentally?
It's you know, at this event, I've had literally hundreds of people come up to me and say, "You made a grown man cry that day." You know, it was that emotion that came from it, and there's no other sport where the general public feel exactly what you are feeling like at the highest level, because they're out there fishing and competing and doing what we're doing and trying to get there. And for me, I think you saw what that win and what it was 10 years of competing here, but really a lifetime of ups and downs and getting through some of the toughest times of my life and coming out of it on the other side. And best way to explain it was the weight of the world just lifted off me. And now when I compete, I'd say when I had a tough tournament, it would affect me and I would be down. And now if like I have a tough one, it's like I just feel rejuvenated, and that like it doesn't bring me down as much as it used to. I'm just like I can brush it off and go because I have a trust in the process. What I'm doing's right, and it's night and day from just having that win out of the way, and now I feel like full steam ahead.
As we look at Hank Cherry on the causeway up there, and I don't know if you heard this, Rick Clunn was up here talking about 1976. Nobody fished riprap in 1976, but it's a different season than when you hit your big lick in 2015. But what are the unchanging strategies for riprap in places like this?
The big one that I learned, like with riprap, is the fish are always there. Like I don't like talking about it too much because I know how much. Like if I can't catch fish, I go to riprap. They're there. They live there. It's transition periods. It's highways for them. They spawn on them. They feed on them. They live there. So if you're struggling in any way, go to some riprap. There's bass that live along there. You've got to figure out how to catch them. What happened in 2015, I almost won off the highest pressured area probably in the USA, I would say. That would be fair to say. And I would say 50 Elite Series guys pass me every day, and I would say 50 locals pass me every day, and they were all cranking and spinnerbait and everything, and they would go around me, and I would just throw my jig, and I was catching 30 a day.
One of the things that's interesting, watching footage today of Brandon Lester, granted he is not fishing riprap, obviously, but these fish in this lake, as big as they are, as many as they are, they're very conditioned. I remember that tournament where we covered you and watching Brandon Lester where it was painfully slow.
Yeah.
How you would work the jig.
Yeah, I was literally counting rocks. You know, there was one stage where, you know, I'd lift it up over the rocks, and a couple of times, a little thing that a lot of people didn't see is I was hoping that jig would get snagged, because I reckon every single time my jig was down there, a bass was looking at it, and I would actually shotgun that jig backwards to get it to come out of that riprap, and when it would do that, they would eat it, and it was literally just, they're there, you got to show them something different, and you got to show them something that they want to eat. And I had I'd catch one to be a big pre-spawn fish about to go up. I'd catch one that I think was spawning, and then I'd catch one that was like skinny and already done the deed. So you're just having so many different things come through, fish come through there in different scenarios. Now you got to figure out what they want, how to catch them. The winning fish are 100% in front of Hank Cherry right now. He's going to have to do the right thing, wait for the right timing, and at this time of year, that sun and that wind is going to be everything. It's going to be afternoon, right, last-minute stuff, right down to the last cast.
We had Scott Martin up here a little bit earlier and asked him who he likes going. And granted, Hank Cherry had a heck of a lead yesterday. It looks like it might get shrunk a little bit. Who do you look at as, gosh, they're going to be hard on day number 3, especially with the temperatures going to be warming?
For me, I tell a lot of people, man, Brandon Lester is just catching him. He doesn't never catch him. When he didn't catch him at St. John's River, I was like, he'll make the cut tomorrow, and he did. 19 pounds. The last couple of years, you've just seen something about him that just he's dialed in. He's figuring it out. He's fishing on the fly. He's in that Tennessee area. He knows all of these lakes back to front, from rock to clear water. I think he's the one that's never going to get stuck on a pattern and just hope it works. He's going to jump around until he starts to catch him, and he's going to be a tough one to beat. I picked him from the start before today happened. It's just like, he's going to be there. He's going to catch him. It's not if, it's when.
Hey, Carl, how about Stetson Blaylock? He just put himself back in the mix with a 4-pounder. He is up to 6th place.
Yeah, Stetson, he knows he's been fishing for so long. He's got the win under his belt on the Elite Series and just smashed them all year last year. And what you're seeing is most of the guys up there that caught him last year, confidence, they caught him at St. John's. It's just that momentum, confidence. They're going into it, and they're not. A lot of them just understand that they've been there, done that, and they're not going there to weigh in a single fish on the classic stage. They're going there thinking, I need to win, because they know that second place isn't where you want to be on Bassmaster Classic third day.
I'd catch one to be a big pre-spawn fish about to go up. I'd catch one that I think was spawning.
I want to talk about that love-hate relationship we were talking about before, though. Explain to somebody at home, because this is what's interesting about that, talking about the glider.
Yeah.
Okay. We have seen that love-hate relationship with other anglers through the year. We would see that with Dean Rojas and a frog.
Yeah.
We would see that with a Byron, which I used to call Brian Velnick, with a swim bait.
Yeah.
Explain that because you and I talked about it. I said, that thing is getting you in trouble.
Yeah.
Explain that to somebody at home that doesn't understand what we're talking about.
Yep, so the glider that we're talking about is a big bait, a big swim bait. You're targeting big fish, and it's a bait that can get you into trouble and it can get you out of trouble, and it's something you have to be super careful with. But here's what happened to me. Not last year, the year before, I had the best year of my entire career. I got back into the elites. I almost won several events. I led the championship on Gunnersville, and all of them were because of the glider. And I used it perfectly in a way where I never got dialed in on it, but it was always on my deck, and I either used it to save me at the end of the day. I need a 5-pounder. This is the way I can target a 5+ pounder. There's nothing else that's going to grab this bait. This is what, and I would get it. I would get the bite. Bassmaster Open, Champlain. I don't want to talk too much about it because we're going there, but back-to-back casts. Last 5 minutes, 5.5, 6.5 pounder. Boat flipped them both, made the 12 cut. It kept happening, and then I led Gunnersville Championship here on it. Hank Cherry's on.
Stetson Blaylock, he just put himself back in the mix with a 4-pounder. He is up to 6th place.
No help.
Yeah. So what I was doing was getting dialed in on a pattern, and I was going and catching those fish, getting to a situation where I was like, I've got them, I'm doing good. Then I would pick it up and I would go, and I'd have that last 2-hour window, and I would get that key 5-6 pound bite, which would then put me at another level in the tournament. It happened all year, and I adjusted perfectly with it. It was just always on the deck. And then last year, I pushed the fact. That's the mistake.
It talks to you.
It does. It lets you know. But it's like, come on, pick me up. See what happens.
So some of the
2 hours later, no bites.
Your major frog guys will say, never take it out of your hands. Never take it. So that's not the relationship you have. You have to have a supplemental.
Yeah, it's a supplement.
To go with that.
That's a great way to. It's a supplement, and when I learned that, I just don't know what happened last year. I got too many bites on it in practice. Like every time I picked it up, it was happening, and I'm like, then I would push it, and when the conditions aren't right, it's not going to happen. You just have to know when to pick it up and when to put it down.
So here, what are the correct conditions?
Yep. So a lot of the the stuff we know about glide baiting comes from California. Clear lakes, long casts, clear water, and a lot of
light penetration.
Yeah, light coming, so the wind's breaking it up, all of that. But the glide bait deal in the south from here where we're fishing is relatively new, and that's the stuff that I've been learning and basically changing everything that we know. It's not long cast, it's not big retrieves, it's not clear water, because we don't have a lot of that where we compete on the Elite Series. So for me, the championship open on Table Rock, I almost won it. I lost a 6 on it, and it gave me that jump back in and had contention into the third day. And I had slick, calm conditions and overcast. And what you're wanting is just them not to get as good of a look at it as you want. That you don't want fish following the bait all the way in. And so the conditions for me are breaking up. I actually want a little bit of colour in the water. I don't want it crystal clean, because you want them to see it, see the action, something they've never seen, but don't want to get too good of a look at it. They're either going to eat it or they're not.
Chickamauga style color water.
Yeah.
Aha.
In early March, bit of a warming trend. This time last year, I had probably the greatest couple of weeks of my life, and I caught a 10-10, my PB.
Wow.
I caught another one over 10, several 8s and 9s, and it was all at Chickamauga at this time of year. So the cancellation wasn't a complaint on my side.
While we're sitting here watching a 3-box right now. And here's the thing. You do understand the highs and lows of that technique, of that bait. What is a good day with it, numbers-wise?
You generally, you can catch up to 10. 10 is a solid day. Those days, like on Chick, when I was really whacking them and getting some big ones, it was like 4 or 5 bites. In tournaments, it's generally the Gunnersville Championship that I fished here last year and the year before. I had 6 bites, landed 5 of them, and had over 20 pounds and was leading. It was it's a little bit dicey, but that's why you want to have it as a supplement. If you can catch that decent bag, say you think 16 or 18 pounds is it, and that's all you can get, then why waste the last 2 hours of the tournament trying to knowing that you probably can't upgrade?
You may or may not want to answer this. What is your go-to?
The glide bait deal in the south. There's a couple, and I've actually been lucky to design one with Molex. So we have one. I've got it. It's for sale now, and I've been able to help with that. The last couple of years, the Arashi glide from Brandon has been phenomenal.
It's a good one, isn't it?
It's a good one. And then before that, it was a lot of local custom ones, high-powered herrings. They're just you're trying to make it look as real as it can. It's got to swim perfectly, and there's a lot of little techniques with it, but it's a technique that's blowing up and is becoming a lot easier to catch fish. It's not as technical as a lot of the guys think, and it's not like huge rod and reel, bomb cast, hoping to get a bite. It's actually sneaking around, docks, laydowns. That's where I sort of find the difference. I'm like in there putting it in spots where most people aren't gonna.
Totally hunting individual fish.
Yeah, you're hunting that one fish that's gonna take you from another level.
Boy, you like to talk about it.
Why did I?
It's a prompter. When he's prompted to do so, he's being polite.
He just dunked it out.
He's helping us out here.
I like poking the bear. I really do.
50 years of the Bassmaster Classic.
Yes.
Carl, what was the first classic that you were ever aware of?
Well, it was probably, I've been watching it since I was 16 years old, but it was kind of that Van Dam, that era where I would follow it, but I got to, when I flew over here, 2010, I think, when he won in Louisiana Delta, and I came to the weigh-in, and I was standing in the crowd, and I was sitting back there watching it, and that was it for me. I was like, whatever it takes from here on out, I'm going to be standing up there.
Carl, you're an inspiration, I got to tell you,
Bassmaster Elite Series champion, Carl Jacobson.
Yeah. It sounds good, doesn't it?
I like that. I like
Absolutely. It keeps you going. It keeps you going. Guys like Carl keep the sport going, and that's something we're very, very thankful. Thanks for joining us today, Carl Jacobson. Always bringing something. Boy, these guys are bringing it out there on Guntersville today, especially. The second half of the day. Brandon Lester moving all the way up into second place. Brandon Card, who we just talked to about an hour ago, sitting there, well, it made himself back into it, and then he catches the biggest fish of the day and puts himself right up into fourth place. Lots of big-time stories. We are tracking here for you, getting closer, ever closer to weigh-in time coming up here later, 4:30 Eastern time on Bassmaster.com. Hank Cherry, you see Brandon Card right there in his big move in the last 40 minutes, as a matter of fact.
He just called again seconds ago, 2.5 pounder.
Brandon Card again. Wow. All right. Stay with us. We got one more half hour, a little bit less than, coming up of fishing on Bassmaster Live. We'll be right back after these messages.
The 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook, is brought to you by Toyota, Garmin, Humminbird, Mercury, and by Minn Kota. Gear up this spring at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
As a professional angler, you've got so many things on your mind. Any advantage that we have is key. And not only rods and reels and lines and baits, but in our clothes. And the guys at AFCO, they have something for every situation. There's nothing AFCO hasn't thought about with the fishermen in mind. It's designed for fishermen, by fishermen, for every scenario you can come to. Any fish, any water, any condition, AFCO has you covered.
What an awesome place to have the Bonus Bucks event right here on Pickwick Lake. This is definitely bass fishing country, and it's great to see this Toyota Owners Tournament come to this venue.
The Toyota Owners event's really cool. It's a standalone deal. Just be part of the Bonus Bucks program. You get invited to the event for free. So if you haven't registered for Bonus Bucks, it's a free program, and not only can you win all the bonus money in the tournaments, you can also attend the Owners event for free.
You're crazy if you don't sign up. That's the whole reason I bought my Toyota. No other truck manufacturer does more for fishermen than Toyota.
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
Shrimp po' boy, fried chicken. Man, Academy has the best selection in bait. Oh, gotta get a badonkadonk. What else do we have here? Oh, the twitching mullet. Definitely. Gone fishing.
Son gets it done. Jordan Lee, back-to-back domination, unbelievable.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new tour grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
Serious competitors demand serious tech. We've hand-selected top anglers from fisheries around the U.S. We've taken them to Lake El Salto, Mexico, and armed them with a full one-boat network setup from Minn Kota and Humminbird. Their mission, do battle. in a series of challenges designed to prove their fishing skill, all to create a new legend and put the ultimate fishing system to the ultimate test.
What them sons of fishes up to now?
Fellas, I give you the force trolling motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. Really in trouble now.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here.
What a dumb bass.
Built for the guy who has everything and needs to tow it. The Tow and Stow is equipped with multiple ball sizes and adjusts in 1-inch increments to the height of your trailer for level towing. Best of all, it stows when you aren't using it, away from your shins and garage door. Machined from American steel with a 2-stage finish, the Tow and Stow is the last hitch you'll ever need.
You're watching the 2020 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook, being brought to you live by Power Pole.
About the last 30 minutes of fishing, some anglers going to be winding them up pretty soon and heading on back, put it on the rack and wheel their way back to Birmingham and, of course, headed toward the weigh-in. The all-important second-day weigh-in. 53 anglers out there right now, only 25 will leave the arena knowing that they've got one more day of fishing, one more shot at something you just don't get that many shots at during the course of your life, Mark Zona.
Well,
you have to maximize every go.
Tom, I'm not going to lie. Here's the great thing. We're going to end up having a horse race on the final day. And I will tell you, Hank Cherry, no matter how good he did yesterday, and he held serve today.
Yes, he did.
Like we said, it was a grind all day long. Hank Cherry's going to end up having the weight of the bass fishing world and their eyes on him all day long tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting. It is going to be
I have never
really
seen
exciting.
an expo like I'm seeing here today.
It's just unbelievable.
It's a zoo.
It is. It is like a stampede. It's like the stockyards in Fort Worth, when they run them through there. There's people just all over the place. And like we say, it's much more than just an outdoor show. It's old home week for everyone that loves bass fishing, and we're sort of centrally located in the bass fishing world for sure. And Birmingham has so much history. And maybe one of the most iconic fishing scenes in all the world is this Alabama scene right here that you're looking at.
I'm with y'all. I mean, last year was phenomenal,
yes.
But they have showed up to the 50th Bassmaster Classic.
A lot of people having a big time here today.
The fans have showed up.
Built for the guy who has everything and needs to tow it.
I do really believe that Hank Cherry's going to need that bladed jig area to fire one more time.
Away from your shins and garage door. Machined from American steel with a 2-stage finish.
Do you think it will?
Tow and Stow is the last hitch you'll ever need.
I agree. I think it has to.
It has to.
It was just tremendous to watch it yesterday. I mean, a guy in the zone is just—it's hard to figure out sometimes.
But here, here's the other side of this: is a dude that's been there. I mean, this is a guy that had the winning fish hooked in the Bassmaster Classic.
Years ago.
Years ago. I mean, it's not. He's not going to be on uncharted ground tomorrow.
No.
And I was fishing then. I remember hearing some anglers say that were fishing the elites then. Boy, these rookies or these new guys coming into the elites, they are good. It wasn't just that one moment that he had in that one, the biggest tournament, the biggest stage, but he was well known to catch them everywhere.
Jerry's going to end up having the weight of the bass fishing world and their eyes on him all day long tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really
exciting. An expo like I'm seeing here today.
It's just unbelievable.
It's a zoo.
It is.
But as we got to see last year on the Bassmaster Elite Series, what we got to see in 2014 on Lake Guntersville, a lot of strange things happen on the last day.
Yes. I think anyone that has ever won a Bassmaster Classic is thankful for it and appreciates it. But I will say this: had he landed that fish and won his first rodeo, and I'm not calling a classic a rodeo, him being there the first time, he will appreciate it much more if it happens to him tomorrow.
Yep.
I got another big mover today. Bill Lowen just caught a 4-pounder. He's jumped from 36th to 16th.
Wow.
Good job, Bill.
Our stories always kind of hover at the top of the leaderboard, but our friend Tom Abraham made a good point. He said, this is the place where the 30-pound bag is always out there, but you got to bear in mind that the 7-pound bag is almost always out there as well.
That was a great point. That was great. Or less.
Yeah.
Do you think it will? I agree. I think it has to.
It has to. We actually talked about it before this event. I have taped 30-pound shows and 7-pound shows on this lake.
Probably regardless of the season or whatever, right?
Unfortunately, I think I was with you on one of those 7-pound shows.
Sadly, you were.
Dude, it was cold.
Oh, it was brutal.
It was ice. The backwaters were iced over.
Skating rink.
We thought it was matted grass when we came over the bridge and saw it.
Yeah, had to get the super puncher out.
On last minute. Wait until last minute.
These rookies, these new guys coming into the lakes, they are good.
I'll tell you what was so strange was I was very, very, very fortunate. I've fished with guys on this lake. I fished with Derek Remitz and Alex Davis, and I was able to catch the tail end of the umbrella rig gig here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was able to. I remember I came down here alone on a Easter Sunday of all times. I had an open window to tape. I don't think it went over very well at home. But I went out alone, very close to where Hank Cherry is, pouring rain, and got to throwing it with Alex. We were just goofing around day before. It was staggering what bit that thing before those fish got conditioned to it. It was staggering. And here's what was interesting was, so we went on one of the little humps out in front of the mouth of Browns. We went out there and caught 5 that weighed, I'm going to guess, 28 to 32 pounds, okay? Alex had to run, and I thought, I've got to go out there and catch him on a different bait. I got to see 3/4 ounce red eye, jerk bait, spinner, whatever. When those fish were dialed into that before they got to know that umbrella rig on this lake, you could make one constant cast with whatever you wanted to throw. And I defy you to get a bite on a standard conventional lure, and you would pick up that machine gun, and it was staggering how they would bite that on this lake.
Wow.
And at the time, you think to yourself, oh, they're going to bite this thing forever. They'll bite it forever.
Never mind history and all that stuff.
It's amazing how really, and especially on a lake like this that gets the most pressure in the country, roll tide. Don't you ever tell me to ride.
So staying somewhat on that same topic, getting conditioned to lures, I think silly thoughts like this sometimes. Like yesterday, how many fish got put in live wells on eating a lipless?
Yeah.
And it's like
absolutely.
You get dropped in a live well with a couple other bass, and they're saying, really, you fell for a lipless? That thing is, we've been biting it for 30 years, and you fell for it?
I was thinking that yesterday.
It rattles. It sounds like a freight train coming, and you didn't know better?
Yeah. You throwback.
You know, what's funny is when we had Carl up here, we were talking about how intelligent at times these fish are on this lake. Something along that exact same line is when we were watching Brandon Lester on this dock, you think to yourself, so he's caught, let's call it 4 fish off this dock. I always think to myself, I thought this when Zell Rowland won off this, you think to yourself, how many's under there?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is it like one of those docks down in Boca Raton where there's 70 grouper?
Yeah.
And two of them decide to eat? You know what
I think so.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. And when I believe this time of year, when they come in wicked crazy numbers.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to be honest with you. I'm gonna fish Guntersville next week. This gets my blood pumping.
I looked at the weather. I think you're in good shape, friend.
To 32 pounds, okay? Alex had to run, and I thought, I've got to go out there and catch him on a different bait. I got to see 3/4 ounce red eye, jerkbait, spinner, whatever. When those fish were dialed into that before they got to know that umbrella rig on this lake, you could make one constant cast with whatever you wanted to throw. And I defy you to get a bite on a standard conventional lure, and you would
Hank,
that machine gun. And it was
Cherry's a tough competitor, man. He loves to win. He loves to compete. He wants to be there at the end of every tournament. That's typical of most of these guys out here. Boy, he is living the dream right now. And, of course, the dream started back in 2013 when he did so well in the Classic, just getting back here and all the work it's taken to get back in this spot.
I'll tell you what it did. It just was a surreal feeling that all the years of hard work came together in one day. You know, this is a weird sport. One day you can hate it, and your worst day of fishing makes you want to go back the next day and do it again. I don't understand what it is. It doesn't make any sense at all, but you can't explain the euphoria catching a bass gives a grown man. Sitting in the parking lot, I still wasn't sure what I had. I even had Swindle look at them, and we were guessing 26, but I knew that 2 of those fish were close to 7. So then it kind of came reality, and I knew coming through that curtains I was going to look to the right and see my family, and then drilling was going on. It's the 50th, and I've been saying the whole time I'm taking this trophy home. You know, I've only done one day, one thing, but 1/3's done. I have 2/3 left, and hopefully when the dust settles Sunday, that trophy's coming home with me.
You were watching Brandon Lester on this dock. You think to yourself, so he's caught.
Welcome back to the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook. And you see a sea of people lined up, all sorts of free stuff going on here. People are Look at the sea of people that are here for the Bassmaster Classic. But here's something you want to know. When you get here, before you get here, go to an Academy store, buy something. Or if you've already been to an Academy store, take that receipt, bring it right over here, and they will give you live well tickets. How cool is that? But then, look, all of these people here, what are they here for? The Bassmaster Classic, but also really here for a lot of free stuff, let's be honest. And you see a giant line of people at the mystery tackle box. You see what they do? They just open a door and you win what's in there. But I got a special guest that I want to talk to right over here. Larry Roberts, Academy, and this is incredible what's going on here. I mean, your booth is absolutely jammed with people just excited about fishing, and that's got to excite you.
Yeah, we are really thrilled as the title sponsor on the 50th anniversary. Again, just very exciting to be part of the event.
Now, you specifically, I like guys like you because, you know, sometimes you'll see companies get into the fishing world that really, you know, I mean, how many commercials have you seen where the guy holds the reel upside down? Every insurance commercial drives you crazy. But you guys, you know, design stuff for anglers, by anglers, basically. Tell me what you're so excited about in this clothing line.
Well, the Magellan brand, which is exclusive at Academy, again, built for all different types of outdoor lifestyle, especially fishing. But we're launching this year Magellan Pro, which is just a slightly elevated program, different feature sets, different benefits, and a lot of details that speak directly to the angler. I'll give you one example. It's got a fishing line cutter right attached to the shirt, so if you're out, especially if you're a wade fisherman, easy for you to address and cut your line if you need to. And it's also a complete line, so we've got tops, bottoms, footwear, anything you need to get on the water.
Really, really cool. 9 out of 10 dentists appreciate that line cutter because anglers have trouble with their teeth from cutting lines. But Got to be excited to also see Stetson Blaylock, one of your pros, getting it done here this week. A good start off in the Classic.
He's doing well, yeah, and he's a great ambassador for Academy. We're glad he's on the team.
So this lineup closed only at Academy. If I want to get it, I got to go there.
Only at Academy.
Why wouldn't you go to Academy? You get over here to the Academy Sports and Outdoors, get into their booth, get some tickets, get some free giveaway stuff, and talk to Larry about this awesome clothing. Thank you very much for your support this week. And guys, back to you. It is a madhouse at the Bassmaster Classic Expo.
All right, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Larry, and thanks to the folks at Academy stepping up, being the title sponsor for the Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic, presented by Hook. And the massive effort it takes, which starts the day after last year's Classic, to put this whole thing together. None of it's possible without these people who pay the freight, and hats off to them so much for stepping up and believing in their people, the people who make their business and translating that into support for events like this.
Absolutely, Tommy. I fished a few of these, and it takes a lot to make all this happen, all this come together, but I had no idea as a fisherman what it takes to make this week happen.
Oh, it's just
exactly. And one of the really cool things that we've been able to experience is we get to go to ICAST, and that's more of an industry party. This truly is the biggest party for the folks that support this industry. Yes. And I'm going to tell you, I mean this. If you're within 10 hours of Birmingham, Alabama, come hang with us tomorrow, because I have a feeling by the end of tomorrow, this is going to be one of the most unbelievable classics we've covered.
I think we're all going to be pretty well drained when we file out of the arena tomorrow night. It has been a ride so far, this 50th anniversary of the championship, the World Championship of Fishing. There's your leader right there, Hank Cherry, trying to maybe cull up one more time before he has to take it in. Brandon Lester, boy, he has done great work today. Had a very slow start. Looked like it's going to be a disappointing day, and he absolutely made the move. The move of the tournament, got it turned around.
Zay, you mentioned this several hours ago. I'm sure we have a lot of people viewing now that did not hear it, but when we talked to Hank Cherry last night, he said, if I win this 50th Bassmaster Classic, it'll be on boat docks with a jig. How ironic is it that he has spent the whole afternoon basically on this riprap, and Brandon Lester has moved into striking distance on a boat dock with a jig?
You have a guy, Hank Cherry, that weighs in 30 pounds of bass on day one of the Bassmaster Classic, and it was eerie. He said, look, man, if I'm going to win this tournament, I'm going to end up winning this thing off of boat docks. And all three of us kind of did is that right?
Wow.
And to me, what was interesting was earlier today, he kept him honest. He kept him honest for about 45 minutes. I'm really interested to see tomorrow what else he has in the tank, because he told us, I got some other stuff.
Yeah.
But here, so far in this tournament, we've not seen that.
Nothing new.
We have seen
new today from yesterday.
We've seen the exact same game that he executed yesterday.
I will say this, though. He loves doing what he's doing right now. Every elite tournament that I competed against Hank Cherry on Guntersville, a lot of guys fish those funnel areas where the water passes through on these causeways, these bridges. He loves to just get on stretches of riprap, jerk bait, jig, do that sort of thing. It doesn't matter if it's June, February, March. Everyone, as you're riding up or down the lake, you'll see him, Hank Cherry on a stretch of riprap. He loves doing this at Guntersville.
If you're within 10 hours,
let's take a quick look at something that happened just moments ago. Skylar Hamilton, day in the top 10.
Started 7th.
I think we're all going to be pretty well drained when we find down there in 20th at this point.
He'd fallen to right at the cut line.
It's been a slow day for Skylar Hamilton, but I give him credit. He has stayed the course on what he's doing.
Zay, in the last 7 minutes, he got a 3.5 and a 4.0. He's jumped to 10th place. He's only got 4 fish still.
Wow.
We don't have no time.
One of those guys that didn't get many bites yesterday, though. 6 bites, I think he said.
But when we talked to Hank Cherry last night, he said, if I win this 50th Bassmaster Classic, it'll be on boat docks with a jig.
how ironic is it that he has spent the whole afternoon basically on this riprap, and Brandon Lester has moved into striking distance on a boat dock with a jig.
You have a guy.
Had Carl up here talking about fishing the riprap there, and he's so you slower the better. Count the rocks. Wow. Is that the speed we're seeing Hank move at here?
It looks like
faster.
It sure does. Yeah, well, I was on site in June, and Carl's one of those guys that loves to fish the riprap when you go to Guntersville also, whether it's March or June.
Wow, Matt Airy just caught his first fish of the day, a 2-pounder.
Oh, my gosh.
What else he has in the tank?
He did not see that coming.
No. Canterbury?
Got some other stuff.
Catch one yet?
So far in this tournament,
No.
That's two guys. That's why you should never, I mean, you play Rapala Fantasy Fishing, but never bet money on bass fishing. Let them just receive prizes from other people. The two of those anglers, when they left the dock this morning, you think?
No.
One fish between them at this time? Jeez.
Well, there's still guys trying to get inside that cut. Daryl Gleason just caught a 4-pounder, moved up to 32nd. Drew Cook has 23 pounds, 6 ounces. Gray Bucks tied for him there at 25th. And 1 ounce back is Cody Huff, our college qualifier, trying to get into Sunday, Championship Sunday.
Let's take a quick look at something that happened just moments ago. Skylar Hamilton. Shane LaHue right under him. That's
$3,000 bump to make Sunday. How does the dream go, Davey? Make it to the Classic, make the Sunday cut to Classic, win the Classic?
Yeah. I mean, no, I disagree. You're right. I mean, just make the Classic is a dream come true for, I think, everyone that makes it. And then once you get there, you know, making the cut is a goal, an accomplishment.
Having fish, catching a fish and bringing it across the stage.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 steps.
Many goals, yes.
Carl up here talking about fishing.
Salute. Roll Tide.
That is exactly right.
Count the rocks. Is that the speed we're seeing Hank move at here?
It looks like that. It sure does. Yeah, well, I was on site in June, and Carl's one of those guys that loves to fish a riprap when you go to Guntersville also.
Well, it's going to be a heavyweight fight tomorrow.
It absolutely is.
No doubt.
You couldn't draw it up any better. The 50th Classic. We said it's going to change someone's life. Canterbury? They're going to earn it tomorrow. The one that holds that trophy over. And it's the Classic. I mean, it happens every time, but it's just shaping up. I mean, any of these guys in the top that win, I'd be tickled to death for them. But
sure.
Kind of glad somebody's probably not going to have an 8-pound lead.
Are you kind of glad you're hearing that music, my friend?
I love that music.
Exactly right, my friend. I know what that music means.
Talk to me.
Because we do it about 337 times a year, my friend. You know what? Earlier today, I was kind of looking at Hank Cherry, and I was looking at how his day started. I said, you are well on your way to being the PPROTD Power Pole Replay of the Day. I know. There was a lot of letters.
Theater.
It's what I do, my friend. I do that this time of day, Tommy Sanders.
Well, hey.
It was when we made the Mercury move of the day down the lake to build the Power Pole Replay of the day. And so far, fair to say, Brandon Lester, you are the Power Pole Replay of the Bassmaster Classic. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yes.
Ever fish boat docks, and I know most of our listeners certainly have. You understand how fortunate he was to land 2 of these 3 big fish from under these boat docks.
I'm very curious to see what he weighs in after looking at that right there.
What do you think?
What do we have him at?
We have one long fish. I have no idea what that fish weighed. It was
6 something.
Yeah.
Brandon Lester, you are the Power Pole replay of the day. Day 2 of the Bassmaster Classic. He is going to have an interesting night tonight.
Yep.
Yep.
He kind of shut her down a little bit early, a few minutes early yesterday.
Well, it's the arm.
Well, yeah, it was the arm. Granted, he would have had to caught about a 5 or 6 pounder to move the needle in any event, but.
Well, it's going to be a heavyweight fight tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
You couldn't draw anybody. 50th Classic. Who says it's going to change someone's life? They're going to earn it tomorrow. Looks like he might be headed that way again today.
I think he's
That happens every time. But
there.
It's just
I wonder what's going through his mind right now. That'd be interesting to
Any
know.
of these guys in the top that win, I'd be tickled to death for them. Sure. I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing. He knows that he saved face. He's going to have I'm sure he doesn't know whether he's going to have a 5-pound lead or a 2-pound lead, but he knows that, hey, one more day to go and I'm going to have a great chance.
Well, if the calendar, the temperature catches up with everything, does bust wide open tomorrow, is he positioned to take maximum advantage of that?
I think so. I agree with Z. That starting spot where he caught those big ones yesterday morning and didn't catch anything this morning, but he went back later and caught a couple decent ones, but not big ones, that has to work for him.
That's got to be the go place.
If that works for him, it's going to be tough on other guys to catch him.
The other side of it is with the weather we have coming, you got to catch him tomorrow. You can't, tomorrow can't be I need to hold court. You're going to have to bring it.
That's the spot that has to work for him tomorrow. Because he's going to run his other stuff. He's got some more stuff, but you're just, you're going and fishing some stuff that worked, at this point, Wednesday, 4 days ago? That spot, I'm betting he starts on tomorrow morning, and he needs to put something in the boat because there's some guys that are going to catch him tomorrow.
No doubt.
Right over there.
Replay of the day, day 2 of the Bassmaster Classic.
Now we're going to fish a little more.
He's going to have an interesting night tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of shut her down a little bit early, a few minutes early yesterday.
Well, it's the arm.
Well, yeah, it was the arm. Granted, he would have had to caught about a 5 or 6 pounder to move the needle in the event. But,
Looks like he might be headed that way again today.
I wonder what's going through his mind right now.
Keep in mind, he's just not randomly casting this jerk bait down this riprap. There's some eelgrass that comes off that riprap, and then there's an outside edge, and he says you have to make the perfect cast. I'm sure he doesn't know whether he's going to have a 5-pound lead or a 2-pound lead, but he knows that, hey, one more day to go, and I'm going to have a great chance.
Well, it has been a wild day, a wild tournament so far, very much befitting the status of this historic classic, the 50th edition, the World Championship of Bass Fishing. It was a feast for some, and it was not such a good seat at the table for others during the course of today, but we're going to find out officially how it all shakes out when we get to the weigh-in. Meantime, tomorrow, Bassmaster Live comes your way same time, 8:30 Eastern to 11:30, and 12:30 to 4 p.m. 4:30 p.m. is the weigh-in today on Bassmaster.com. We'll take her down to 25 today. The end of tomorrow, the Super 6. Show us what they have, and we will have a world champion. We will see you tomorrow, same time on Bassmaster Live.
That spot, I'm betting he starts on tomorrow morning, and he needs to put some in the boat because there's some guys that are going to catch him tomorrow.
No doubt.
Replay of the day, day 2 of the Bassmaster Classic.
And we're going to fish a little more.
He's going to have an interesting night tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of shut her down a little bit early, a few minutes early yesterday.
Well, it's the arm.
Well, yeah, it was the arm. Granted, he would have had to caught about a 5 or 6 pounder to move the needle at the event. But,
Looks like we might be headed that way again today.
what's going through his mind right now?
Keep in mind, he's just not randomly casting this jerk bait down this riprap. There's some eelgrass that comes off that riprap, and then there's an outside edge, and he says you have to make the perfect cast.
I'm sure he doesn't know whether he's going to have a 5-pound lead or a 2-pound lead, but he knows that, hey, one more day to go, and I'm going to have a great chance.
Well, it has been a wild day, a wild